can't find too many weaknesses. What are you going to focus on? Where are their weaknesses, do you think?
Well, I don't think they got too many. I mean, they've been defending well, using the ball well, so that's a plus. Maybe around the contest is a slight weakness. That's one of our strengths, so that'll be pretty important tonight.
Yeah, you've been a little bit inconsistent this year, but still got a fantastic position, second on the ladder. Where are you looking to improve?
Oh, well, that probably, mate, just, being able to put 4 quarters together. And we've done that in some games, but in other games they've been a bit inconsistent. Mind you, it is pretty hard to do that in this competition these days. So I'll take where we are on the ladder, and hopefully we can build on it tonight. Lockie Neal, 150 club games. He's been a great get and still playing fantastic footy. Oh, he's a super player. We talked about it yesterday. He's actually, his winning percentage is the greatest of any Brisbane Lions player that's played 150 games. He's had 102 wins or something like that, so pretty good. What about your debutant tonight? Tell us a bit about Ty. Yeah, so Ty's a really competitive key position forward. Not the best time to be making your debut, but he'll give a good account of himself. He's good at ground level. He's a real competitive beast, so we're looking forward to that, what he can do. And the forward line of Adelaide's been dangerous all year, led by the 3 big tools, but the smalls are starting to play some pretty good footy as well. Oh yeah, they're dangerous. They've got a super dangerous forward line. They're pretty lucky with what they've got, so our backs will need to be on their toes tonight, mate. All right, well, get up in the box, keep warm, and have a great night. Thanks, mate. Cheers, folks. Cheers.
Chris Fagan with Mark Rashudo down there at boundary level. It is, it's clearing. I know we make a big deal about the weather, but when the ball bounces, it's going to be head over the footy. Both coaches have, nominated clearance and contested ball, which is no great surprise. So there'll be no secrets. They'll know exactly what's coming. Both coaches, both sides will know it's working out. What about this big fella, Riley Thilthorpe, Chief? What are you thinking of the big boy?
Well, I love watching him play, Gaz. I think we all do. He just imposes himself on the contest. Again, not the best night for him either. We love seeing him putting pressure on defences by taking the big pack marks, contesting. He leads, he moves well for a big bloke. He'll do some work in the ruck as well. I mean, it's just going to be a contested night. It's going to be slippery. The ball's going to be on the ground a lot. It's going to be physical. You're going to have to put your body behind the ball. And it's going to be, there'll be a little bit of surge mentality at times.
Yeah, I mean, we think of Brisbane and the way they're out of control possession at times, and we know they can move it quickly as well. Do you think it would affect them more or Adelaide more?
Well, number one uncontested mark team in the competition, the Brisbane Lions, so they like to maintain possession, as you say. So they're ones that might be compromised ever so slightly, but we always say the same thing. When the rain comes, the better teams play better, and they're one of the better teams. What I've got in the back of my mind is what we saw a couple of times last Saturday night at the SCG, that big vacant forward line, a flip-on from Rochelle, which is celebrated throughout the week. But that open forward line with Keys and Neil Bullen and Rankin and Rochelle hitting back in is going to be a challenge for them.
So Jordan Dawson wins the toss. He'll kick to the cathedral end in the opening quarter here. And the rain has cleared to some degree, at least compared to what we've experienced in the hour and a half or so before the bounce.
So Charlie Cameron and Lohman and Rayner, they become really important, don't they? Lohman's just been a touch off this year. There's no question about that. Got back to some of his best in the last week. Yeah, found a bit of the footy for the first time as well. His numbers have been down. He's had an interrupted season today.
And I think on that, just looking at the midfield goals for Brisbane, and we know they've never been huge midfield goal kickers, but Dunkley 2, McCluggage 4, Berry 4, Will Ashcroft 4, Neil 4, and Levi Ashcroft 5. None of them have really been able to hit really high, get close to that 1 goal a game, but you need a few to do that generally.
Well, because they go so deep, because they've got such a long list that they are going to spend time forward, so they've got to be able to complement what they do through the middle of the ground by hitting the scoreboard as well. So stage just about set. Dunkley maybe to Dawson. He's done it before. We'll just watch and see how that unfolds. Tends to be the man that gets the run with us. We've alluded to Jason. So watch that matchup. Isaac Rankin is the other one who's going to be critically important to see what they do with him. He's spent great time through the middle but gone forward a bit more in the last 2 weeks and been really dangerous as a result.
Yeah, I think Rankin's definitely one that Brisbane might put time into, but they'll back themselves in. They'll back their structure, particularly in the midfield. I like Dunkley just hunting. He'll be responsible for the stoppage and then hunt the footy, do his defensive work, do all those sorts of things. I think perhaps a run with it be plan B.
Peatling starts in the middle along with Saligo and Rankin, and you got Dunkley, you got McCluggage, and you got Lockie Neal. So, gee, there's some talent in this game tonight, boys. It's going to be an absolute belter. As I said, we're going to find out about a few teams by the end of this.
Yes, it's time for Friday Night Football and time to find out about the Adelaide Crows up against the best. Fort continues to ruck in the absence of McInerney. McCluggage, fresh from 41 last week, quickly gets back to work. And there's a little minor territory gain only. Hipwood is the deepest forward at the moment. Peatling should be well suited. Archie, though, to Rayner. So Brisbane get the first look at it. Butts couldn't get a hand to it. Pressure on Keane. Lohman was in the right place to hunt him down.
So Butts has got the job on Hipwood, and it looks like Keane is picking up Logan Morris.
O'Brien and Fort need to really get in contact to it. McCluggage ready for it. Good early tackling pressure, and it's going to be rewarded. Saligo right on the job. That's part of what he brings.
Keys with Sorko too at the other end of the ground, just at the early stages.
Saligo clears the defensive area for the Crows. Walker brought it to ground. Keys into the play quickly. Not much of a hand pass. And then sticks the tackle to make sure it doesn't come out. Dawson started forward, but it hasn't taken Dunkley long to find him as he drifted up to the stoppage. Rayner underneath didn't handle the footy cleanly. Dunkley did. Bailey nearly missed his boots. Fort squeezes the kick going forward. It skips and slides out over the boundary.
We'll see Lockie now at the moment. Peatling is just staying within the 2 or 3 metre radius right now, so it looks like he may have responsibility for the champ.
So Lions with the territory at the moment. Crows have been great starters though this year. They're 9-3 in first quarters. O'Brien at least halved it. Bailey always dangerous. Pete, what a fine start from Adelaide in terms of being in the right position to lay tackles as soon as the dangerous Brisbane players win the footy. Laird this time.
Took him on Zach Bailey. He's a player that you think might be suited by the conditions.
Number 3 pressure rating team in the comp, Adelaide Crows.
Back in the team, Laird. Smith demoted to the sub tonight. Back out to the wing. Lincoln couldn't fought. Could slick hands through Payne, and now Neil turns and faces his forward half. Gets it into Morris. 1-2 and enough. No, not enough.
A night like this.
Umpire didn't pay as it turned out. Wilmot was careful to pick it up. He knew that Dawson was bearing down, so plenty of tackles laid early by the Crows.
Yeah, so Morris opposed to Mark Keane, who had this magnificent intercept marking game last week against the Sydney Swans, so a little stiff not to be paid there.
Bailey coming through the stoppage, ran into a dead end. Miller stuck him cold.
Great tackle. Great tackle. Just stood him up front on.
3 holding the balls in the Crows' favour while they have been defending territory. Tex gets clear on the wing. Lovely one-handed mark and the roll and go. Give the Crows a look deep. Phil Thorpe's been their number 1 target.
And that's what we were talking about just before the game started. Taylor Walker's ability to come up the ground, be that linkman, take the contested mark, but then he delivers the ball beautifully. His field kicking, as we see that Miller tackle, which was outstanding. His field kicking is exceptional, Walker, off one step on the left.
Riley Thilthorpe goals in all but 1 game this season. A bag of 5 and 5 bags of 3. A chance to open the scoring. Thilthorpe from range. It was never online.
So for this 3 tall forward system to work, they need to have that separation and they need to be able to play the role of the target up the ground.
Quickly it turns over. Curtin thought about it, reconsidered and wasn't far off. Hasn't kicked a goal for quite a while since round 5. Daniel Curtin, that was a golden opportunity.
It was a good opportunity, but what I loved is he looked central first, and it was only when he couldn't find something he then decided to have the shot.
Wilmot will go long to clear the dangerous area initially. O'Brien the spoil from behind. Ground ball to be dealt with. Peatling taken high. Against Zorko, who doesn't mind a bit of a scrap. Ranked in the top 10 forwards in the competition. Peatling. And what he's done for the Crows. Thilthorpe outnumbered. And Neil Bullen can't keep it in.
So Payne's gone to Fogarty and Harris Andrews just rolls over. So Payne's got Thilthorpe, Harris Andrews got Fogarty.
Seems the more natural matchups, doesn't it?
Yep.
With the size of Payne to counter Thilthorpe. Neil, get the hands clear.
And those matchups means Ryan Lester is left with Taylor Walker.
Dangerous tackle being paid here against. So Beatling's certainly got the job on Lockie Neal.
We might see a bit of that through the night.
Yeah, he's given away a dangerous tackle free kick here. Oh, he's been reported too. Did I hear
on
him
the
say?
spot. Yeah.
So,
No way,
extra.
no way to protect himself there, did he, Lockie Neal? Seems to be okay for now. Kicks out to the wing, Laird and Berry.
Will they take him off and look at it or not? Probably the doctors will be looking at them right now
I
and
have to think so.
working it through, and there's the response.
It's still going on off the ball.
Now the throw in. O'Brien somehow managed to get the tapper straight to Neil to McCluggage. Had a second to think about it, just takes the territory. Worrell has been outstanding this year. Help from Laird and Butts. Close to the line, Curtin again. Laird had to get rid of it straight away. Berry just scrounging a metre here. 10 metres there, and it's back out of bounds.
Oh, there's a no, Rochelle just throws Berry to the ground, but the umpire says no. I think there's a bit of extra in it. This is what it is right now. This is just the sort of night that you've got to be prepared to work hard inside.
Good feeling in it. High stakes encounter, and it feels that way. Will Ashcroft worked it away. Barry Zorko pushed off his kick, so it's slewed away. Lohman clean hands, but dragged down by Hinge.
He looks a bit sore, Zorko. That was a great effort by Neil Bullenstein coming in from the left of screen, and Zorko hit his head on the ground as well, but that's unfortunately just bad luck in the contest, that one.
No, beg your pardons. Berry's up for that sort of...
That's Neil Bullen, isn't it? That's the pressure he brings. So that's the high half forward coming up and pressuring against Zorko, who gives him so much drive.
Ford clean tap. Neil was on the fly. Laird the other way. Crows, clever hand pass over the head of Neil Bullen. Keys couldn't break clear, but does keep it moving. Fogarty, Neil Bullen stayed active. Doubling back and finding a way. And finding the right pass. Berry.
So go back and have a look at that. And we talk about these two high half forwards in Keys and Neil Bullen and how important they are. Well, they were pivotal in that. Keys has got responsibility for Zorko. He gets involved in Neil Bullen's work rate.
Sam Berry winds it up. He will just find the distance, but not the accuracy.
So they've had a few good early looks, the Crows. One thing you have to do in what looks to be a tight slugfest tonight is you've got to take your opportunities when they present themselves.
And Jace, last week they kicked 21 goals, 5. It was their most accurate performance ever on record.
Charlie Cameron copping some light booze then. They haven't forgotten the former Crow who left and went and finally got his premiership as a Lion. Here's Gallup getting involved straight away. Lovely little flick handball to Bailey. It's an open forward half. Tough for Archie. Bailey's skills, not just in winning the ball, but staying on his feet. Lohman, a bit of a lame kick. Curtin very unconvincingly gets a hand set.
So that's Curtin playing as a wingman in recent weeks, and he getting back as all good wingers do, protecting the last line. A few sore boys early in the piece, just dusting themselves off.
A few Lion headaches.
So all behinds early. Hinge clears the area. Lovely mark Saligo and didn't hesitate for a moment. Placed the ball forward. Walker trying to clear the way. Andrew's got a boot to it. Walker sticks the tackle on the follow-up. Makes sure Fletcher's going nowhere. 4 consecutive thrillers between these two teams, including a draw here.
Brisbane.
You never quite know.
Brisbane doesn't call.
So Lockie Neal's just come off. We'll get Roo to keep an eye on that to see whether they do have a look at him.
Set a task for Answorth.
I think you'll find that James Beatling missed a game after a tackle similar to that against Geelong earlier on in the season.
Zorko fed it up in the Archie direction. Dawson back from the bench. He's had his first pit stop away to Pedler. Out to the wing. Well-weighted ball. Rochelle, Zorko for company. Rochelle trying to wriggle away clear. Zorko using all his wherewithal, and the co-captain Andrews arrives.
He'll take that as a win, Dane Zorko. He's not going to get any easy looks tonight. He's going to have his hands full with either a Shelley or Keys or one of those mobile small forwards.
Wherewithal is a good description tonight. We saw it from Neil Bullen. And players that can just know their way around these difficult conditions are so valuable, and Payne has really stamped himself even more intercept marks than Harris Andrews, can you believe, this year. Full season of full fitness. Fine player back there in defence. Kick goes along that wing and is almost dragged down. Peatling fired it out to Cumming and basically threw it. That's exactly what he did. And that could be 50. I mean,
That should have been 50. Very lucky.
Smart Alec, really, more than anything. You don't often see that. Not in this sport, anyway.
An umpire tell him to pick it up and throw it back to him then? It's not the umpire's job.
Just pay the 50.
Pay the 50.
Yep. So Will Ashcroft settles. Eyes searching, and now the kick does the same. O'Brien is there to defend. Rayner just handballs blindly. It's a bit like that at the moment. Answorth, body on the line. You think he'll thrive in these type of conditions. Beatling's kick smothered immediately. His body's strewn in every angle as a whistle picked out of it, and it's going to be greeted by the joy for the home crowd because it's going the way of Berry, another who's built for this sort of stuff.
There's a bit of niggle in this contest. You'd expect that, guys. Second v third, real big game, and a few sore bodies already, as you said.
Along up the line, you can imagine that's going to be a familiar refrain for most of the night. Lions turn to stick the tackles. Cummings stood up and penalised. Will Ashcroft emerges with it, and he wants to use it quickly. Dunkley feeds it to the forwards. Hipwood grounded right away. It's all about the crummer. Gallop, great feed. Archie, has he got enough? Not quite. Hipwood kept it alive. Levi Ashcroft for Loman. No room to create. Played for the free kick. Umpire having none of it.
You get no time anywhere here. The tackling pressure's been elite early in the piece here. As soon as you pick it up, you get grabbed and had a good first touch. Ty Gallop there. Nearly had a hand in a goal assist.
Got a score review here, Gaz.
Well, it did look close to crossing that line, didn't it?
Brisbane have taken 6 uncontested marks in.
Whole ball has to be across the line.
That looks play on.
Yep.
So 6 uncontested marks in 12 minutes gives you an idea for the number 1 uncontested mark team in the comp of what we're dealing with here. This is high pressure, basic footy.
Brisbane's turn at the moment. Fort and O'Brien. Archie isn't far off again. Ashcroft right underneath all of that. So umpiring is going to be important tonight, isn't it? The decisions and the non-decisions.
Yeah, plenty of opportunity to blow the whistle.
Especially so close to goal. And the infraction could be costly. Rayner bursting through in trademark style, but he too can't quite hit the mark.
They've looked dangerous at stoppages in their forward 50. We've seen Bailey get on the end of a couple, but he's been tackled well. Good pressure there, which prevented the goal from Rayner, but he still looked dangerous.
Territory. Fought to shut that down. Not paid. Phil Thorpe jarred it clear. Peatling had time to slip over and regain his footing and sprint it to Curtin. The designated munner by the coach. Straight to the bird on the mark. Levi Ashcroft kept it in. Devilishly clever against the boundary. Fletcher tosses it out on the full. Given the offensive power of both of these two teams in prospect on a fine night, you could have imagined a high-scoring encounter. It's going to be anything but. Evidence of the early going. The veteran Lairds lame up the line as well, and Fogarty crashes into Fletcher. So there's a real intent to impose some force, and the body hits.
And the whole game gets condensed here. So it's between the 2 arcs right now, every player between the 2 50-metre arcs. So it just closes in, becomes a contest, and the space is over the back goal side for both sides here.
So Phil Thorpe up doing the ruck work at the moment. So obviously absent from the forward line. They do get it in that direction. Dawson turns tackler and Neil. Good night for the big freeze beanie for Chris Fagan. His great mate, of course, Neil Danaher. Quick kick forward from Ashcroft. It was a good one tonight. Rayner with his usual grace and balance The left footer into a pretty open forward 50. Archie just the pace away from it and couldn't get the access he desired. Hinge, another former line. There's a bit of cross-pollination in these two teams.
It's what this defence do really well. They're proactive. They don't necessarily wait for the forward to react. They will go first. Worrell, Michael Annie. Last week they did it beautifully. Cut off a lot of forward thrust from Sydney just by being proactive defenders.
Ponchos and beanies compulsory tonight. Will Ashcroft around to Berry. Gives the forwards a look. Hipwood crashes the pack. Neil just couldn't be first touch. Soligo goes in hard. Bailey got him high. Soligo desperate to move it quickly. Worrell, the outrider. Worrell featured in the coaches' votes last week. Thilthorpe presents up the line. Payne ran enough interference. Fletcher, good gather underneath. Wilmot, totally off balance, just skews away. Rayner crashed into Dawson. Fletcher dispossessed. There's no whistle on the play. They're in and after it. Gallop hit hard by Pedler. Welcome to footy.
The quality of tackling early has been good. There's a good contest. Eyes on the footy.
I hope they stay an umpire in this game like that, Jace.
Thilthorpe got the hands to it. Underneath is what matters, though. Ashcroft off the ground and more of the same from Dunkley. The ricochet from Michael Annie. Hipwood getting rid of it, another thing, but he was able to team up with Rayner. He's next to be under siege. Crowd disappointed. There was Ashcroft. Now there's Bailey. Doesn't get the free craved. Levi's kick. Another tumbler forward. And another just off the mark. It's Adelaide 3, Brisbane 3.
Yeah, 18. They've played 18 tackles already, the Adelaide Crows. Just knows time and space.
Hinge chanced his arm. Curtin step in the field of play.
It's funny they've had 9-3 the inside 50s Brisbane, but it feels like Adelaide have had the best looks at goal.
Walker from behind. Can he tack? Fogarty couldn't find the way through.
And that's been reflective of their season, Brisbane, getting plenty of opportunities forward, but not converting them into scores.
Thilthorpe and Gallop, good show of strength from the debutants. Thilthorpe still won the footy though. Keys on the turn. A dribbler. Fogarty. All the contacts. Slipped over the line. It was high.
The tackling tonight, you just got to... Just executing the tackle under slippery conditions is going to make a big difference tonight. Harris didn't do much wrong there. Just got him a little bit high and then a little bit slippery. That forces the free kick.
Darcy Fogarty sets it up to the marking contest. It'll be about the crumb. It spills the way of Shelley, who snuck it. Let's find out. Where did he sneak it?
Near side.
No celebrations.
Near side.
Score review. Umpire's call is one behind. Please confirm.
There's a lot of daylight there.
Yeah, I think he belted it that hard that the umpire couldn't quite get his head up in time, but it was...
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball passes on
They're
the
always a
behind
little
side
extra
of the
careful at that end of this ground when Adelaide are playing.
All in minors.
We are seeing a proportionately high level of reviews for scores in season 2025. Anything, whether it's a point or a goal, is being reviewed.
Clean from Fletcher to Dunkley. Are you happy with that, Jason? Or?
No, not really, Hutto. I'd love to back the goal umpire a little bit more.
Memo to Greg Swan. His old team as it is now, the Lions in action. On the big Friday night stage, Lonan got out of the tackle, another high one. Again, potentially one where the player with the footy contributed to the free kick, but not seen that way by the umpire. They don't take full toll of the advantage. You've got to be really sure that it is tonight. Such a disrupted season for Kai Lohman so far. Amazingly, for the first time, so he went 6 games goalless after 4 in the grand final, Kai Lohman. Only 8 minutes remaining as the search is still on for a goal. Thilthorpe down the line.
It's hard to come. This is just good old-fashioned slog footy at the moment. So there's been 2 marks taken inside forward 50 for Adelaide. Brisbane haven't taken a mark inside their forward 50. It's all been ugly footy in there, and Adelaide have been able to tackle their way out of trouble for most of this first quarter.
Gallop at least breaks even. The tap does go to the dangerous Rankin and then to the inside. Hinge tried to adjust the kick to allow Walker to run at it, but was well predicted by Payne. He wasn't anticipating that. Can Walker find a way where others have failed? No. Add him to the list as well. In fact, he doesn't even register a score.
His aging legs nearly did him a favour then. That's what Payne went, Jack Payne.
He'll say, he doesn't like that.
I know.
He'll say it was all deliberate.
Exactly.
Yes?
And I'll tell you now, keeping your feet on a night like tonight, incredibly important.
Lions had to hold their nerve there. Fletcher got run down. Came hard.
Been a feature, Jared.
And he looks back at Eric Hipwood saying, what about a call? What about a shepherd?
Not much going for, though.
It's been a great tackling quarter for the Adelaide Crows. They've laid 22 already.
Berry brings it up the line. Flying from all angles. Lohman in the middle of it all. Dunkley. Charlie Cameron's right on here. Will he take them on? Into a dead end and out. Kept it alive. Rayner surely. A goal at last. Cam Rayner strikes first on a rainy night in Adelaide.
Well, I'm glad they got a goal out of it because I think Charlie Cameron just needed to go with the first option, and that was the little chip kick over the top to Logan Morris, who'd broken back towards goal. Would have been an easy one. He then ran himself into trouble. Fortunately, he was able to get the hand pass out. So you'll see the mark here. Now, Logan Morris is 5 clear. Little chip over the top. Easy mark, set shot. But he's good enough to keep his feet, evade trouble, and Cam Rayner helps him out with a beautiful kick on the left side.
Josh Worrell's going to look back to that going, Charlie Cameron's not the man that I can take liberties with here. So he just loses. He's got his back to Charlie Cameron, and Cameron goes into the middle of the ground. And by that stage, he's 15 metres off.
Valuable to be able to kick a left foot goal like that. Cam Rayner, we've seen it before. So the first goal took an eternity. Let's see if they can follow it up. Neil shapes it to half forward. The invitation was to run. Keane provided the clear passage, and Hinge is able to walk through, but not with any conviction at all. Batted down Dunkley to Ashcroft. They're moving again. The hands off from Morris. Archie told to go for goal, and he followed the instructions. What a damaging player he is.
You have a look at Will Ashcroft in amongst this. This bloke is a serious footy player. He's a leading possession winner on the ground. And you just have a look at the hands and the build-up to this. He's an outstanding footballer, Ashcroft. So again, some good forward pressure. And just quick bang, left hand inside, opens up the middle part of the ground, and Archie's been good enough to finish. So just finally starting to get a little bit of reward for territory. 11 inside 50s to 6. Now they've hit the scoreboard twice.
You know what I loved as well? It was the decision from Josh Dunkley. He knew if he took possession, he'd be tackled. He knew he had support. So he just parried the ball. Just a little two-hand tap, which allowed Ashcroft to get involved, and then they set it up.
Archie's having a great year around goal. That's his 19th. And the Lions double up quickly. Pete Lean and Will Ashcroft go to work. Drew a crowd.
Amazing how often that happens, isn't it? 20 minutes without a goal in 60 seconds.
But they're getting a reward now for the territory advantage they've had. 11 to 6, the inside 50s.
Levi to Fletcher. Lions bring it forward. Morris didn't quite get to the drop. Keane keeps it away. Neil Bullen with Archie for company. They reconvene. Underfoot. Good little touch from Dawson. Pedler offloaded. Paitling keeps it going. Keys took extra territory, but that's errants as he did so. Leicester with a chance to build. Berry with ball in hands. Lohman on the streaming lead. Miller worked him underneath. Ought to be one at the back. Another clever touch from Dunkley. Didn't quite work this time. Miller fed it, then offloaded by Dunkley. McCluggage has a go. Berry as well. Lohman checked the kick at the last. A good play. And Gallup draws a reaction on Deboo. O'Brien as well sits. He glides in gracefully and takes the intercept mark.
He's had a good year, Riley O'Brien. Had a contract at the end of the season. It'll be an interesting one to follow. Hinge back along the wing. Answorth well set with Andrews. Fletcher exactly where he should be. McCluggage decides to go off the left and is overclubbed at Neil Bullen. Slips in, and now they spread and charge forward. Rankin's the closest to goal. It's going to take at least 2 kicks to connect with him. And as the seconds passed before the disposal was taken, it gets a little tougher, but Curtin.
It's the first time I've seen a little bit of mark kick for a while going forward for the Crows.
Fogarty down the line. Lester didn't like being pushed around by Walker. Led his match there, did Tex. A couple of veterans going at it. Ryan Lester, Evergreen with it. Brisbane Lions and Tex Walker. Game 290. Hurried kick out of there, Berry. Almost turned into a torpedo. Hinge took it and just went to Curtin, who sort of reached for it unconvincingly, and that allows the Lions back in. You don't want to give them anything at the moment. McCluggage tosses it up higher than ideal. Perfectly suited for the intercepting defenders. Peatling plays it back. Laird the same. And the umpire really helps them out there because they're in real danger of turning the footy over. So Laird has a bit of time on his side, but Brisbane can get set ahead of the footy.
Laird on return tonight. Sets it up for the marking targets. O'Brien was there as well. Rankin underneath. Just his target. Peatling with some work to do. Over his back went McCluggage. He'll land on the numbers. He'll get penalised.
See how well they can work and get some separation here, these big forwards.
It's the kick to the cluster, and Berry was well set underneath. Stood his ground in front of Fogarty.
Yet to take a mark in their forward 50. They haven't been in all that often, but it does look hard work at the moment when they go forward, the Crows.
Berry too featured in the coach's votes last week. That's a terrific mark from Jordan Dawson. He's grown into one of the competition's best leaders, as well as a fine player. Dawson. Again, it's just kick and hope. Fogarty attacks the pack. Berry brought it to ground. Keys, Walker, Rankin. Would he dare? Not this time.
Second possession for Rankin. Ainsworth's done a really good job. He's had some big moments, Ainsworth, in the last 5 or 6 weeks, doing jobs on the opposition's most dangerous.
Yeah, he's had some victims. Some of the best in the competition. Short to Neil. Happy to play on. Send it up to the wing. Butts will try and spoil Hipwood. Succeeds. Peatling. The focus of plenty in this opening term. This time towards the high tackle.
He ducked in looking for it. He thinks that he was him, and it's actually his free kick. Oh, wow. Watch him drop the shoulder there and lean into it. That's just not a decision I'm comfortable with.
It's an admission of guilt, really, too, wasn't it, from Peatling? It got through to Rankin again. There's a whistle. And it's a Lions ball, so that would have been 50 if he'd taken the shot.
Crows are staring down the barrel of their first goal this first quarter for the year.
They've been great in opening terms. So Walker and Rankin argued that in the post. Andrews, the recipient, and he too takes territory. Morris and Rayner fought amongst themselves. Often that's paid as you've got a quasi-team mark, but
I'll tell you what they haven't done tonight. They haven't cut any slack for the conditions when it comes to marking. They are umpiring drive with the footy saying you've got to hang on to it properly.
Fair enough, as long as they're consistent.
Had to be one of the two. It had to be a mark for one of them.
It did. They both marked the ball, and it had to be a Lions ball. Will Ashcroft gets underneath it. That'll take some marking, and Curtin with safe passage.
It's a nice bonus to have a 198 centimetre wingman that can just help out in defence on the way through.
Tex lurking, worked his way to the front.
I like Curtin. I thought he was really good last week, and he's just developing and learning this swing craft. And when you're trying to exit your defensive 50 and you look up and you see a 198 centimetre wingman sitting there, it's going to help.
he's taken the second most contested marks for the Crows.
Yeah, I think there's a bit to it. There's a bit of experience here. Can't go through him or over the top of him anymore, Tex, because of the age he went around him.
The weight of 660 career goals, 17th season. Tex Walker for the Crows first. That's not getting it done.
21 goals and 5 points last week. 6 straight points this week.
And that was part of the reason for such the huge victory they had. They were so accurate. There's room references, and there's a nice little chop off from Newborn, so there is a chance for a first quarter goal. Phil Thorpe is the prime target. He drops the mark unexpectedly. We'll see a bit of that tonight. Crowd getting frustrated.
opportunity lost. You'd expect him to mark that more often than not.
Fort connects nicely with Neil. And then Berry lags it back to the wing. Morris had came where he wanted, but couldn't get onto the footy. Had to deal with Butts as well. Laird, they're in a bit of a line there. Neil Bullen, Peatling, scrambled kick with no control, and Fletcher takes the mark. So 30 seconds to go in an opening term where Adelaide have failed to score a goal. 6 behinds, as you can see. The Lions kicking a couple quick smart.
They've been such a powerful opening term team, the Crows. No marks, so Neil kept it going momentarily. He scrounged for it desperately.
The Thilthorpe drop mark is symptomatic of what this first quarter's been. He couldn't not drop a mark last week. He marked every single thing that came his way. So they've had plenty of opportunities, been inside 50 12 times and had 6 scores.
You can't complain about the free kicks, 12-6 in their favour. But they are without a goal. So there is a lot to work on if you're an Adelaide Crow. 2 of the pivotal players for their team, and Harris Andrews letting Riley Thilthorpe know about what he left behind. So it's the Lions by 9, and tomorrow an equally critical game. But at the other end of the ladder, the Swans are so desperate to get back on the winners list. They're upset by the Tigers last year. Could they do it again at the MCG? Find out tomorrow.
All right, folks, welcome in. Was it Friday night football? I'll tell you what, 2 good sides battling it out. I'll tell you what, Adelaide, they trailing the Lions 2-3-15. Adelaide Crows 6 straight behinds. I tell you what, the Adelaide Crows, they couldn't kick any straighter for the behinds if they wanted to. My gosh, they've had at least 4 of those. Well, those should have been goals. They're just not kicking straight. What are they doing? My gosh, Adelaide. Tell you what, Adelaide came out. They were in control of this match for pretty much up until about the first 20 minutes. And then, of course, you see the first goal scorer. Oh, let me get it on there for you. Cam Rayner, about 20 minutes. Brisbane got a little bit of their run back and they look good. We have a little bit of a look here. There we go. That was just... No, that's all right now. That's all right. We good. We are good. We are good. There we go. Brisbane just made the most of their opportunities. 2 goals, 3, 5 scoring shots, 2, 6. 2 goals, 9 crazy as a whole. Wow, 6 behinds, and they were saying last week Adelaide was so accurate. Very uncharacteristic of Tex. Hey, M. King, welcome in. Eddie G. B3, good to see ya. Sheila May, Chia, mega love, shout out Chia. Shouty. Tina's in there as well. Staff Sergeant, good stuff, everybody. Liam was there in the live chat, and of course, hello, Rosa. There we go. Just so I'll give you a quick shout. Don't forget to put your vote in. 61% say Adelaide. My tip's Adelaide as well because it's a home ground. Tell you what, if they'd have been kicking a little bit straighter, it would have been a different section on 8. Look, let's just have a peek at the ladder where these 2 teams were sitting on the ladder. Brisbane and Adelaide, there they are. 2nd and 3rd on the ladder. Brisbane on 38 points. Adelaide on 32. Whether Brisbane win this or not, well, if Brisbane win this, they'll go top of the table. If they lose, they will remain 2nd no matter what happens for the rest of this round. Adelaide really need to win this game. They're on 32 points. They want to jump to 36 to keep that game clear. If not, well, a lot of the other sides can get up to equal points with them. That is the danger. We don't really like putting on the live ladder because it shows Brisbane on top. There we go. Hey, the ins and outs. I didn't get to this. For Adelaide, coming in was Rory Laird. Sid Draper was going out. That is all just the one change. And, of course, for Brisbane, Ty Gallop. He's out there having a gallop tonight for Brisbane and going out Darcy Gardner. Ty Gallop, of course, is the new player, and that is the milestone. His debut game tonight. There are the team lineup. So if anyone's wanting to just pause it there, they can check that out. The lineups. Let's just quickly go and have a quick look at the player stats. My goodness, this hasn't reloaded. I've got a lot of things to do. There we go. Let's go and have a look at all the goal scorers. And of course, there's only 2 goal scorers: Cam Rayner, Calamachi. Both singles there for Adelaide. Yeah, Cam Rayner usually starts off slow, but he hasn't been too bad so far in the opening quarter. The top 4 all coming from Brisbane disposal getters. Will Ashcroft, of course, one of the stars for Brisbane on 10, 5 and 5. 5 clearances. Jad Berry on 9. Lockie Neal on 8. Cam Rayner 7. James Peatling and Rory Laird best for Adelaide on 7. I'll just roll this. I'll tell you what, folks, if you're watching the game, you will see there are a lot of big hits in this game tonight. And I'm surprised Lockie Neal and Dane Zorko haven't come off the ground for a concussion test. They got tackled pretty solidly and, bumped solidly, and they both hit the ground pretty hard with their heads. So I'm surprised they actually haven't been off for that test. All right, let me just zoom that back up. Let's get back down to the ground. We'll see if anything is going on. They'll let us know anyway. Don't worry, Collingwood will win Monday easy. Liam, they should. I think they should too. So, although that being said, King's birthday, or as we know it, the old Queen's birthday holiday game, the big freeze coming up Monday. Don't forget to get your freeze hats. Support that cause. It's normally a pretty good game. So, look, I expect Melbourne to come out and give it a pretty good shot, but I would think I'm surprised they weren't freeze. I know. Let's just duck back team stats. Let's have a look at the free count. There's already a lot of free kicks in this game, 12-6, Adelaide's favour. The umpires, you know what? The umpires, I think, are umpiring it reasonably well so far in this game. And just the disposal count, 72-95. It's plus 23 to the Lions. And they both had 12 inside 50, so both teams are getting their opportunity. So as we say in the chat, you've got to take your opportunities when you can get them, because they're both good sides. And, generally they won't let you back in. I mean, take them when you can get. Hey, that's enough of me talking. Let's get back down to the ground. They're going to bounce the ball for the second quarter here. It's the Lions by 9 points.
But the umpires thought he's a debutant.
He got four touches in the first term, so that'll settle his nerves. He looks like he belongs.
Absolutely. He's got to gear yourself up here to go again. This is contested footy at its best.
Crows 6 behinds and 1 out on the full in the opening term, looking to get themselves underway in a bigger way than that. Skirmish in the middle, McCluggage first touch, and he used it well. Will Ashcroft, lightning hands to Neal, headed it forward, but going back with the flyers' butts.
Again, magnificent through the middle of the ground. Neal and Ashcroft, great hands, but that's reminiscent of Keane a couple of weeks ago.
Unconditional stuff. O'Brien the target on the way out. Ford could do nothing about it. Made his debut against the Brisbane Lions on this ground back in 2016.
You just don't see footy like this these days. Like, there's no look inside. There's no look to change direction right now.
All to the next contest, which Fogarty wins. Roll and go. Phil Thorpe is well placed. Dawson wants it deep over the top of Dunkley. Phil Thorpe a little shallower than that. Dawson will still have to fly. Dunkley was the man in front. McCluggage underneath. Neil Bullen held him up.
It's the best chain of marks we've seen for the game, really.
Well, what was interesting about it, Gaz, 2 long kicks up the line, and they both found a one-on-one contest.
O'Brien knocks a goal side. Keys is there. Unlocks the first for the Crows. Lovely piece of ruck work.
Well, they're a marking team. There's no question about that, whether it be uncontested or the contested mark. And we haven't seen it in the first quarter because of the nature of the game. But what we did see then was a transition from one end to the other on the back of marking. And Jason pointed out that they're able to get one-on-ones for their big men, getting into a dangerous spot. And then you just hope that one of your smalls can go to work. And Ben Keys has been doing this for a couple of years now.
Yep, hard to keep him out of the game. And somehow you can see Harris Andrews. He goes, why is no one standing next to Ben Keys? He starts running in to get there, but he doesn't get there in time. And then he's got the hands up going, hang on, there's a breakdown here. You can see Harris Andrews sitting back pointing at him. He's got 2 men. He gets caught in between the 2 of them. Doesn't commit either way.
Yeah, that is a bad error, a bad blow. It was either him or Payne at one stage.
All started with a great mark from Jordan Butts in the back line.
Kick 4 against his old team. Last start 4 years, the Brisbane Lions. What a pickup he's been for the Adelaide Crows. Now Rayner gets it in deep. Just short of a gallop. And comes off his hands and goes over the line and out of bounds.
I think a dry footy at the start of the quarter helps with that marking as well.
Yeah, I think a mindset thing too, Roo. So you have a little bit of dry 15 minutes, so you change your mindset a bit. Quarter time, reset, get a bit more aggressive.
Fort and O'Brien exchange positions. Coming, couldn't keep his footing. Crows were well stocked behind. Michael Lanny shapes the kick towards Phil Thorpe and he draws some contact. Illegal from Payne.
Just get him in a one-on-one, right? And Phil Thorpe and kick it to him.
And Jack Payne just found out how difficult it is when he's got front position. You can't get around him. You can't get through him.
You can see the nerves he creates. Left footer from Rochelle. He too finds a one-on-one. Fogarty suddenly with a bit more purpose and confidence about the Crows. But Leicester unrelenting. In the end, really, Rankin just submitting to the tackle. Leicester goes long down the line. Eyed all the way by Worrell. Really could have marked it. Hinged the handball straight away. Back to Laird. Fogarty again. Andrews right with him. We've seen that a million times.
So a bit more aggressive and a bit more purpose, but still conservative around the boundary. There's no thought at the moment of trying to change direction or look for the middle, the corridor, which is a modern day footy.
And when you say boundary, they really have been going to the extremities, haven't they,
right
so
in
far?
front of us.
Lions by 3. Fort to the front. Ground ball to Nelvey.
It was off
Bounced
someone's
off,
foot.
yeah, bounced off a boot.
Have a guess at who it was. He doesn't know the other.
Chat.
Off the luggage last, I think, was it?
Luggage into Dawson.
But did it not touch Dawson's leg?
Good result by throwing.
Yeah.
I know you don't like any more reviews, Jason. You could easily review that quickly.
Touch Dawson last, by the looks of that. Throw in. Seemed a likely outcome. Fort protected it down. There was no one waiting for it. The ricochet took a Lions turn initially. Keens to deal with. Has support. Saligo slides in, ran out of room. Gallop with a tackle. Be a high stompage game. Fort Premiership Ruckman holding duties while McInerney nurses the back injury. McCluggage couldn't take any yardage. Saligo has a go. Fit it the wrong way and it'll take a bit of getting. Dawson has to tie up Gallop.
So 1v1 everywhere. Look all around the ground here, and they're just one up. Rankin's starting to push up in as an extra here. Both clubs are just prepared to let it go, Jason. No one's trying to be clever right now.
No, they're kind of still feeling each other out, aren't they? There's only 3 points in it. I don't think anyone's ready to make a move. They're just letting it unfold.
Adelaide just sorting out their defensive matchups behind the footy. Bypasses Neil initially, gets first look at it. Perry tackling in his DNA. Towed forward though, a little closer to goal. Rayner, Dunkley, Ashcroft set him on a path to goal. He couldn't miss from there. Rayner has 2, and Brisbane have got hand in this game against Adelaide, where it matters most, and that's conversion.
So it's great reward for Cam Rayner because he just stays in the game. They've got a couple of numbers there. Lockie Neal's involved. They're just trying to keep the ball in. He gets a little scrubby hand pass forward, Lockie Neal. You just see this, just gets it forward, back into play. Keeps it in there. Rayner was involved first. Then he has another go, doesn't get it, but he stays involved, and then Lohman gets it out to him.
I could predict what Gary would say. Did you see the handball from Ashcroft?
See that handball from Ashcroft? He and Rayner were both involved at the start of that, the contest, and what they are doing at stoppage and clearance, really aggressive at running through here. So rather than just stop at the contest, they are all on the move. Sleight of hand, magnificent. The finish great from Rayner.
Mark Rashudo.
It was a great goal by Brisbane. Dawson was just hobbling off as he ran off there. Looks like he's getting a bit of work done to the inside of the knee, so not sure if it was a knock or a twist. We'll keep an eye on it.
Rankin hacked it forwards. Peatling couldn't find a target. Berry lends a hand and found a way through. Sets it out for Keys. He had a step or two on Zorko, and it was enough. Now where to? Tex is the deepest target. It heads in that direction. Walker knocks it down. Rankin, they were awake to him.
So it is the matchup. Keys looks like he's playing on Zorko. It's not a hard tag, but he's being accountable for him and then trying to hurt him the other way.
See how organised they are here.
Thoughts. Clears the area initially. This is always a big contest. Archie got it going the Lions' way. Michael Annie had other ideas. Archie disputes the ball with him. It threatens to come out. Rayner bowled over, but he worked it forward. And the Ashcrofts combine. There's nothing ahead of the ball, though. Worrell grounded right of way by Hinge. Worrell brings it forward. Rochelle in the contest with Wilmots. Fed the way of Payne by Leicester. Didn't handle it. Curtin has a go. Leicester's back into it. First down over the boundary.
Yeah, just a bit of a knock on the knees there. Rayner and Dawson.
Big body to hit Cam Rayners.
Such an important commodity. He is the captain of the Adelaide Crows. The ruck duel continues. O'Brien patted it down. Ashcroft stood up okay, but couldn't get the footy onto the boot. Peatling was just easy prey as it turned out.
He's doing a good job, this bloke. He's become a really good player, Answorth.
It's been more important with Starcevic's absence, of course. The likes of Watson, Bobby Hill, Stengel and Liam Ryan. Only one goal he's conceded between those four when he played on. Jack Higgins, the only man who really got after him with 3 goals.
Did a number on Watson.
Absolutely. Really touched it. High ball Leicester, put plenty into the kick. Loman didn't get access in the air. Again, it's Ashcroft, Bailey, and then back to about where it landed on the initial entry. So still 40 metres out, now 50 as they defend. Berry led, it's haphazard driving kick. Walker used his trademark strength and balance to take the mark, then sweeps the handball to Keys, let it bounce, and then gives it a belting. One-on-one, Payne in front, manoeuvred by Philthorpe. Oh, it just didn't quite come together. Brisbane ball.
He did well, Jack Payne. He read it early. He knew where the kick was going. He took front position away from Philthorpe.
So in the back.
It was a big win too because Rankin had worked his way in, win space.
Payne lofts the kick up. Loman underneath, release the hand pass in the tackle. Bailey offloaded by Laird.
It's really interesting from a mindset point of view here. As players, you just get yourself into that. This is a pretty sort of situation. At some stage it will, and you've got to be prepared to take that chance when it opens up. No one's looking inside, but occasionally, eventually there will be someone there, and you've got to be switched on enough to take it. Right now, it is just locked in here.
Rankin on the fly. A helping hand as Berry worked it around to Hinge, right under that. Philthorpe trying to work his way forward, didn't arrive, and Andrews so sure under the high ball.
Beat his own man, Jared, and then beat Riley Philthorpe to the footy.
That's a big contested mark, and they're away now.
Great deft touch. Will Ashcroft spreads the play. Loman rolls and goes. Not the best of contact, so Archie's got a job to do. Keane did okay. Hinge back to Keane. Pressure. Run down, holding the ball.
Well, this was a great example of what we're talking about. So Andrews takes the mark, and all of a sudden Will Ashcroft bobs up in the middle of the ground, and he takes that kick, and they just turn dangerous all of a sudden.
Bailey knew he had his quarry. It is the sort of night as Rayner and Bailey, with a little bit of Archie, might be the best way home. A set shot in the channel. We don't want to miss out on a moment like this. Zach Bailey, it's a beautiful kick. It does the trick nicely for the Lions. They bump it out to 15 points.
So 4 goals to 1. It's a nice little gap that's opening up here. But the point I was making earlier is there will be opportunities for you to take on a more risky kick. Now, this is a fantastic win here. So he beats his own man, Tex Walker, and then stands his ground. And all night we've been looking boundary, but here, just opens up for the first time in the middle of the ground, and then Will Ashcroft's able to transition deep. And then they do what they've been doing all night, and that is get really good pressure on in their front half. So the chase down tackle, outstanding from Bailey, which ends up in a goal. But just every now and then there'll be a gap that opens up, and you've got to be prepared to take it.
Will Ashcroft up to 17 disposals already in this contest.
Not much in the stats. The one glaring difference is clearances. 20-13. Brisbane doing their best work at stoppages.
Ball squirts out. The wingman Berry hit it hard, giving up some ground. Fletcher across to Answorth. Curtin was a nuisance and a good one for his team. Keys desperate, back to Laird. Crows get an opportunity. Another high ball should suit Andrews. Sport with the fist this time. Across goes Ford. Wilmot took the time to find his footing and really could have been and maybe should have been penalised. Now it gets to McCluggage and the exit again. Straight line towards goals. Hipwood. Feathers ruffled a little, but he didn't lose his balance. Thumping kick. The wheels are spinning from Cameron. He's familiar with the forward pockets here.
Yeah, I think Jake Saligo's got a case here. So he's taken it on.
Clearly had the prior.
And he didn't handle that properly. That's a free kick all night long. All night long.
Thanks, Lionel.
Who?
You don't know any music references, Gaz, I forgot. On the throw-in, O'Brien taps it down. Rayner, Bailey. It was a great tackle. He's pretty good at getting the shoulders and the arms up, but the tackle was around the backside.
Seen a bit of this game opening up a little bit from a Brisbane point of view here.
McCluggage had the skills, but Cumming was ready and waiting off the line for him. Fletcher playing it back to Berry until they can get a good look forward. Andrews didn't really want to kick off the left. You can see why. A wobbly 55 number will do just fine. And Zach Bailey takes the mark.
Sometimes that quick chaos kick in there can find a few people out. A couple of Adelaide Crows worried about their man, but Zach Bailey was on his own, stood under it and just tracked the footy. It's an elaborate little dummy that he rolls on Tex Walker.
This just underlines the point Jared made. 2 to Rayner, 1 to Archie, and a chance for a second for Zach Bailey. So those medium-sized forwards, such a hallmark of their premiership last year. An unfamiliar connection for Bailey, but it was a live ball. It's not anymore.
There's a little bit of throwing the arms around when he took that mark from the Adelaide Crows defensive point of view.
Not a rebel, I hope.
Not quite, but they were looking and asking the questions.
Lions by 15. Just the better of the territory battle in this second term thus far. Miller trying to diffuse. Curtin knocked it out of his hands. Peatling dragged off it. McCluggage got clipped.
Well, put your head in the hole, you're going to give yourself a chance. It's that sort of night.
You hear Ryan O'Brien say he ducked, but he was always down there and he's just taken his head off.
Yeah.
You can't complain about that decision.
The fact that he's complaining about it, Jace, tells you a little bit about what's going on here from his point of view.
Hugh McCluggage enjoying a career season, and he adds another goal to it. The Lions are out by 21 in a low-scoring scrap, which they are now clearly having the better of.
So for the first time, Gaz, tonight, that's serious scoreboard pressure now on the Crows.
No question about it. At the last 5 minutes, it's opened up. They're playing with a bit more freedom. They probably switched over from that lockdown arm wrestle mode into, okay, now let's get this game moving and going in our terms. And this is just stupid, I'm sorry, from Riley O'Brien. And then to turn around the umpire and say he ducked his head tells you he misread the whole situation.
I wonder if the surface is just drying up a little bit there. The rain has been gone for a while, so maybe we're going to see a transition back towards dry football.
I think they've done it, Jace. I think the last 5 minutes they've switched it, and now it's up to the Adelaide Crows to see whether they can be a bit more aggressive, maybe a bit more expansive with their ball movement, whatever that means. Switch direction.
They need to show a bit of fight, that's for sure. Phil Thorpe in the ruck, and now the scramble is on. McCluggage front and centre again. Game 195 for Hugh McCluggage tonight. Surely this year he will, after 4 times being in the squad, elevate to become All-Australian. Dunkley couldn't dispose of it. The fervour's still there from both teams.
I'm sure that's what that boxing glove did mean, Hutto, for however effective it is. But they have to try and be a bit more brave with the footy here.
Berry
Tackle, Adelaide.
got some high contact.
No, it just happened.
Sam Berry, your kick. Sam Berry.
There's a lot of players trying to umpire the game.
Quickly off to Michael Lanny. Scrambles a torpedo, which carries a little extra. Gallop back in defence. Handballs dangerously. Rankin again, those soccer skills, not quite to as devastating effect as last week. But Archie taken down by Dawson. That's the sort of thing when you can throw a punch as the captain. Maybe that can change things. Dawson sets it, goes to his big man in the pocket. That was so close to so many, but that got into the post.
It was the right option because Thilthorpe had Zorko as an opponent. He just didn't sit it down low enough. It went over the head of Thilthorpe. He would have taken an easy mark there against Zorko.
Just think a little RFI for Gallop with the blind hand pass in defence.
Yes, he's in unfamiliar territory.
Yeah, back into the corridor too.
McCluggage clears. It won't get beyond the arc, and Raider made it good.
They're winning some important 50-50s, Jared.
The tough stuff the Lions are doing. Hipwood's the target. He'll get out the back. Has it, but nowhere to go. Was that high?
He's had a couple of good important wins too, Eric Hipwood.
Couple of sloppy tackles by Adelaide at the moment. We spoke in that first quarter. In these conditions, just going to take a little bit more control. Make sure you execute it properly.
It was well set for Lads. He wasn't going to miss his moment for a fly.
Is there a change of direction on here? Is there something in the middle of the ground? Are they looking to be a bit more creative? No.
Wing line on the kick, and Thilthorpe.
That's a good option.
Vice-like as he takes the mark, looks ahead. Brisbane drop numbers back, but Adelaide a little cluster out wide, and it's peddling his keys quickly to Rankin. What can he craft? What could we watch there? But it was seen too well by Fletcher. It's a long way out to get one of your famous dribble kicks going, Jace.
Well, and it may well have gone through, but a man was always going to cut it off. He just needed to look to square it up to one of the...
Pain across the face of goal. There's Fletcher in enough space to avert the danger.
That's a really good kick.
Berry. It didn't really sit at all for Hipwood. Miller pokes the Crows forwards. Neil Bullen, no overlap run to work with. Wind it up, see what they've got deep. Tex worked underneath it by Payne. Gets away with it. Payne makes his kick into the pocket this time. Wilmot has to keep rolling. Bailey lending a hand in the defensive area. Unrest in the stands. The locals have kicked only one goal. And we're about to hit time on of the second term. McCluggage in the fight with Butts. Settled by the boundary umpire.
Still plenty of time, though, in this second quarter. The Knicks sitting a little uncomfortably at the moment. Thilthorpe stripped it immediately by Gallop. Goes the second time to Dawson. Kept his feet and able to handball to Cumming. High ball. The two Lions defenders had the best view of it. Walker at least neutralises, and then Andrews tries to... Well, he did more than pretend to keep it in. I'm not sure if he actually wanted to, but it stayed alive. And that gave themselves live bait. Great hard tackling. And it is rewarded. Josh Rochelle.
Well, that is a reward for perseverance. For perseverance. Not sure about the decision to keep the footy in, but when you got a little bit of momentum, I guess you keep going.
I wasn't convinced he was really trying to, but suddenly probably felt like he had to.
It's been quiet, Rochelle. 3 possessions, gets a chance here.
3 goals and a much talked about assist last week. Starts outside the oval, but it's not where you start. It's where you finish, and he finishes with a goal. And no one celebrates it more wholeheartedly than Josh Rochelle. He can set him up for a teammate, or he can kick it himself.
Well, now it becomes a real decision keeping that ball in, doesn't it? Do you just take the stoppage, set up, readjust, or do you try to create something out of nothing? I think he would have been happy to be taken over the boundary, but he found Walker ran past him.
He didn't tackle him.
Get tackled.
That's exactly what happened, Jace. He was wanted to take the tackle, so he wouldn't get done for deliberate out of bounds. And Tex just goes, no, not tackling you. So he had to keep the footy in, otherwise he would have been pinged. And then the finish. So what a difference that goal right there makes. So then you look up, at that stage it was 5-1 and then things were looking a bit grim. Now you look at the scoreboard and say, well, it's 14 points.
And you got the crowd involved.
Yeah, it's a great kick.
Shelley's 21st goal of the season. O'Brien with a tap. Crows looking for some momentum. Coming, Berry offloaded. Coming, lends a hand again. Saligo takes the yardage. Gives Thilthorpe a chance in front. Keys underneath. Feeds Fogarty. Can he release? Dawson bumped off it by Answorth. Lions hold up momentarily. Keys kept the pressure on. Great smother. Saligo, Rankin tried to make something of it. Andrews held them at bay for a moment. Pedlett dived on top, dragged it in, got knocked off.
I think he's getting a response with the glove. The big pitch areas. They wanted some fight and they're showing a bit. Just deemed to have taken his... No.
Dived on it.
Dived on it. I thought he was going to say he's taking his legs.
Lions combine on the way out. Morris working a long way from home, and Berry's been active all the way through.
So the uncontested mark game we know they like to play hasn't really been in vogue today.
Not 15. Dunkley's to the spot of bother. He wriggles out of the tackle. Back to Berry. Chance to send the Lions forwards. Not a lot on offer. Fort made the contest after it got through the hands of Hinge. A ball up.
Thanks, Darcy. Leave it, guys. Leave it. Come out this way.
5 goals to 2. 14-point lead. Brisbane looking to answer the Rochelle goal. Rayner has been a dangerous presence throughout. This time shut down.
Yeah, he's been really hitting these stoppages hard. He's getting back off, defensive side and running through at some degree of pace. He's been dangerous all day, all night.
They wouldn't have tickled that slide either into the artificial turf. Dusts himself off as Fort took front position. Lohman, quick snap. Cameron needed the bounce to go his way, but it stayed true.
Charlie's just had the 2 possessions, so hard going for him.
Yeah, he's really been a cameo player only this year, Charlie Cameron, thus far. Kicked 3 in a hurry a couple of weeks ago. One at the craft here at the Adelaide Oval under the tutelage of Eddie Betts, of course. He searched for it underneath. Gallup showing his preparedness to get involved in the contest, as was advertised. There you go again. Neil Bullen to Saligo, taking the handballs on offer. Berry just tempered the kick for Walker, went with the 1 mitt. Lester's dived on that. He's dragged it under. He's got to his feet at least. The umpire looked like he was about to pull the trigger. They win it anyway. Neil Bullen receiving from Saligo. Progressive made. Phil Thorpe. Too good for Payne in the edge. Too strong. He's a beast. Into the middle. He goes. He had Walker there and Fogarty. So who's going to be deep to take a mark? The run comes from Keane. He's never kicked a goal, the Irishman. But he services Fogarty. Not far enough, the umpire said. So the rush ball went to Levi Ashcroft. And then to Berry. They're not out yet. Zorko backing back. Bought a bit of time. Bought a bit of space. Big call for the boundary umpire. He was well positioned. Not inclined to blow the whistle.
At least from the Crows' point of view, they came inside. Taylor Walker took that kick inside into the middle of the ground. So it's starting to look a bit more dangerous going forward.
It's a genuine contest now.
Up to a contest on the wing. O'Brien put his fist through the footy. Saligo into, out of, released to no avail.
Yeah, they've actually had more inside 50s and more scoring shots to Brisbane. Brisbane may have had a bit more quality with their inside 50s, but it's very tight.
It'll be tiring stuff, this sort of battle as well. Miller carved a path. Keys is looking lively. 2 on 2. Phil Thorpe might have run interference on Dawson. Zorko's there. Third man in to help out. Payne and Berry. Fletcher clears the air out. Answorth.
They have been winning the ball back in their front half. Both teams have, Jace. All 5 goals from forward half intercepts.
Yep. Straight line footy again. And favoured the Crows.
Just another example of it, Jared. So, marginally forward half, but they have been able to win the ball back into dangerous spots and belt it back in.
Back to a contest once more. Fogarty from behind the spoil. Saligo stuck the tackle on Neil, threatened to pull it away. Fogarty, neat touch, up to Rankin. Peatling taken high. They wanted it in deep quickly. Tex is going to have a couple to beat, and beat him he does.
He had the matchup. He had Levi Ashcroft early, and he was just saying, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. I like the matchup. And he was a little slow to pull the trigger. I thought he might have missed it because there was another bit of support coming from Charlie Cameron.
Yeah, he was desperate for help, Levi Ashcroft. He wanted Charlie to come over the top, but all Charlie did was sort of a token effort in front.
He had them both covered.
Fended off the midgets.
He did. He's swatting them away like flies.
Tex Walker to draw the close closer. Tex with his first.
There's very little in the game now. They've almost levelled up in terms of clearances. You look at all the numbers across the board, very similar numbers. So it's just, we're back to where we started almost.
Yeah, and honestly, I know we laugh about these signs that they put up.
We do.
But this is a really good example of, well done to Tex here, using his advantage. So they had the mismatch and they were good enough to exploit it. But since that boxing glove came up, they have dug in. And that, whatever it is, it's triggered something. They were at 5 goals to 1 at that stage. And they've dug in hard, hit back, kicked the last 2 goals and got it back on level terms. That's a good response, Jace. Things were going against them.
He'll play to his 50 if he's got to go up against defenders like that. Tex Walker.
Good signs for the Adelaide Crows.
20th goal for the season. 4th attack, but Dawson running on top of the ground now. Sends it wide. Good contest. I reckon maybe copped a little high from Leicester. Kept him honest. Curtin kept it in. No way out really for Rochelle other than fling the handball in hope to Saligo. Millerard. It's heading boundary and over.
Because we talked about their ability to match it with big top 4, top 8 sides. They're 5 goals to 1 down. Your mind can go one of 2 ways. Well, here we go again. Or dig in and fight. And they've dug in.
Benny Keys has had 8 disposals in the second quarter. He's had 5 inside 50s in the second quarter out of the Crows' 14.
That talks to the forward half intercepts that they've been dominant in the Adelaide Crows.
Good smarts to win it, but the pressure told in the end. Faulty handball from Morris, and Peatling's kick is a little wider than expected.
The other thing talking about Key's game is he's dulled the influence of Zorko. Zorko's had 7 possessions, but he hasn't been able to do much.
We might just have to keep a bit of an eye out.
Kick the goal to take it to 21 points.
There's 8 minutes remaining in the quarter of actual playing time at that stage, and they've used it well. There is McCluggage to Fletcher. So what's the Brisbane approach? Well, they're going to counter here. He heads forward Zorko, and Keys is right with him and wins another little mini battle. Back to Michael Lanning. Can they get sorted here? It gets a little awkward and disrupted. Michael Lanning, no one really to handball to. Neil came and went. Ashcroft got it forward. Zorko from outside 50. And Keane, as has been his habit, really important marks and touches this year, the Irishman. What a defender has been, he and Worrell as a combination. Off to Hinge, who blasts out to the wing, and Dawson came late to the contest.
Hipwood has first access though. Will Ashcroft sure-handed as ever. Payne and Fletcher. Lions get a late look in the turn. Hinge comes over the top, decided not to mark.
So this quarter particularly, it's about who can get the ball into their half, because once it gets in there, both sides have got the capacity to keep it there by winning the ball back. Forward half intercepts on both sides have been really significant. And so it's been a territory battle. So this is huge right now for the Brisbane Lions.
A big minute for the Crows to defend. McCluggage threatens, didn't have the sparer.
A great tackle.
Got to be holding the ball, hasn't it?
Thank you.
Well, he wasn't able to make an attempt in the way that he was pinned without Pryor. The Ashcrofts are lurking. Will squeezes a kick forward, but only as far as coming. Will they dare and have a look down the wing? Hilthorpe's been a strong target for them. Payne saw him underneath. Andrews mops up at the back. Archie has flipped into defence lanes. Spreads around to Leicester. Lions have conceded a couple on the way to half-time. Happy to see out the last of the seconds.
Yeah, I think they thought about it, Jared. Is there a quick way forward? If not, we'll slow it up and we'll just run the clock down. They're well aware of the time that's left in the game.
Andrews didn't have to give as much ground as initially wanted with Archie. Goes to Payne instead. Tosses it up the line for Gallup to have a leap at. So they're beaten to it by Hinge. And at half-time, it's the Lions by 8.
So Adelaide win the quarter just by a point. A quick thought from each of you, Jason and Gary.
I love the fight back from Adelaide. I love the job that Keys is doing on Zorko, and I think they've got the game back on their terms at the moment.
Yeah, I think the Brisbane Lions were the first to try and be a bit more expansive, but the fight from Adelaide really, really impressive.
All right, time for our halftime show. We're now really getting to see what we came for, Ben Dixon.
Certainly have, Hutto, and welcome to Friday Night Footy on Fox, brought to you by Industry Super Funds. When it comes to super, there's only one symbol to look for. Nathan Buckley, Jordan Lewis, first thoughts on the half?
Geez, it opened up that last 10.
Didn't it?
The Crows got to work, clearance, and Matty Nick spoke about, stoppage yards. They were plus 30, plus 330 in the last 15 minutes. So they were behind up to that point, but they were able to get momentum out of stoppage. They gave their forwards a little bit more supply, put the Brisbane back 6 under a little bit of pressure and kicked a couple of goals. It is more like a soccer game. I was going for a draw. It looked like it was a nil-all draw there for a while.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
It was like the Adelaide players were waiting for the message to come down from the box. You can play now. The rain's not coming, or the rain's not here. It has started to dry up. You can actually bring some energy to the game. That first quarter and a bit was just really boring, monotonous football when they probably had chances to be more expansive. So they came to life in the second part of that second quarter.
Yeah, well, 9 points at quarter time. They got out to 21 points, Brisbane, and now back to 8 points at the main change. And Cam Rayner, thanks to Harvey Norman, highlights at half-time. Louis, he's kicked the 2 goals, but very damaging early.
Well, it's been his best half of football for the year. Certainly his best start to the game. So, we've spoken about the role of those players that get really high up the ground and then try and get involved back on offence. And it was Wayne Miller there, just let him go. And Charlie Cameron had too much space inside that forward 50. Made a really good decision, saw Rayner on his outside and made the play. Any time he gets the ball inside forward, it's looked likely right from the first bounce, I reckon, Cam Rayner. He's brought physicality to the game, and inside forward 50, when it's basically unpressured like that, he will always finish with 6 points.
Yeah, we thought the Smalls were going to have an impact all night, and he's explosive, but he can play that hybrid role, can't he?
He has. He's been excellent. Even that edit you showed, the off-ball run is a lot stronger for him and has increased and improved year on year. But to have been able to be involved in 5 of their score assists, and this bloke was the guy that really got him going as well. He started on the bench but came on. 20 disposals in the first half. He had 17 of them to 10 minutes into the second quarter, and just quick hands, which is what we've known of him throughout his very short career. Instinctively, just in and out, and he doesn't second guess himself. He brings his other teammates in, and this one in particular was able to put Archie into space.
Is he the best handballer in the game? I watch him. He very rarely fumbles. I think he's the best handballer in the game.
Yeah, I love the way he goes about it. He was on ball record place. I know Bailey Dale almost cracked the half-ton 50 possessions. He was right in the mix of it. It's his conditions, let's be honest. Like you said, he can be very, very clean regardless of the weather, and he's shown in the first half with 20 disposals.
We've got to think about what's his elite skill. He's not that strong, he's not that fast, but what he is he stays on the move. Very Lockie Neal-like, isn't he? Stays on the move, got great agility, and he's cleaner than most of his opposition, which means he's going to take advantage being around the ball.
Let's have a look, Jordan, at the stoppage dominance from the Brisbane Lions. So you can see first possessions, obviously in +8.
So everything's being done on the inside. So I think what Adelaide have done really well is really push them inside that congestion. So Brisbane are getting really, sort of dominant possessions in congestion. Their first possession's been high, their clearance has been high. So I think that would be a pleasing thing. If there was one room for improvement on that particular part of their game, is then how do you transfer that to the outside game, which I think we'll show in a minute, of Adelaide being able to dominate that for a period of sort of 10 to 15 minutes.
Well, the Adelaide clearance game, we're going to talk about the differential, but in terms of the last 9 of 12 clearances from the 10-minute mark was a pretty fast finish to the half.
It's definitely what we saw. So they were able to get field position off the back of being able to control clearance. So to win 75% of those clearances, 9 of 12 in the last part of that quarter, and all of a sudden they're inside 50s. Now they're up 4 or 5 inside 50s for the half. Adelaide kept Brisbane to 21. That's if they do that again, they're going to be well and truly in the game, and we can just see how damaging and important those first yards out of clearance is to be able to get field position. If the conditions hold on like this, it should open up a little bit more in transition as well.
We know the Ferraris for Adelaide. I put them out in the pre-game. You need the keys.
That was one of the great wall graphs.
Oh, it was, yeah. I spent all week on that.
You just push a button.
That's right, yeah. We still need keys. So you can see here, Levi Ashcroft. You see Harris Andrews does a handover. He's to the left here with Fogarty. But have a look at that. Ashcroft's looking for his keys, can't find them. He's not going to be able to drive a car, but Ben's keys will. He'll help himself to a goal and 10 disposals in the first quarter. But that's where he's underestimated, this guy. Like, pay him some attention when it's dangerous.
Well, that role on Zorko's been interesting. Answorth's role on Rankin, we'll come to that, because Rankin looks like he had his name circled, he's got the 100 hits. The Brisbane boys, Answorth's got the primary role, but Rankin can't run anywhere without getting hit at the moment by a Brisbane Lion.
Yeah, I love Fags at half time. Pick up the keys, will you, Levi? Like, it's that easy, just drive it away. Adelaide misses. Jordan, through the game you were talking about where defensively Brisbane were pushing them wide.
Yeah, so I think part of it is to do with the way that Adelaide were moving the ball. It was quite obvious that they wanted to go slow and long down the line and wide, which made it easier for Brisbane to defend. But they were pushing them wide. They were making sure their shots were on the boundary. So they were 0-6 or 1-6 at quarter time. They all came from these sort of desperate shots wide. So if you match that up to their game last week, they were really accurate. They got shots inside the corridor. So I think that's the challenge. And sometimes that can be the result of ball movement further down the field, not changing angles and being more expansive.
Let's head into the newsroom with Johnny Ralph. James Peatling's tackle on Lockie Neal's plenty to talk about.
Yeah, I think he's in trouble. He was reported by the umpire for that dumping tackle on Neal. I think the extreme dumping motion there as his head hits the ground means that he's likely to be missing 1 week. Could have put him out against Hawthorn next Thursday. So it's excessive force. There's more than one action and it's vulnerable position. They're the things that Michael Christian looks for. The real asterisk here is that Neal only has one arm pinned. It's a tough ask to think that he could have put his arm down to protect himself. I don't think he threw his head back too much to exacerbate contact. Now, we'll show you James Peatling from round 6 in gather round, a really similar tackle. This one on O'Sheen Mullen. He actually had both arms pinned here. This was categoric, very easily 1 week suspension there. So I think the force of the Neal hit might trump the fact that there is only one arm pinned there. I think he's in strife, even though he's got a very, very small bit of wiggle room there with only one arm pinned in that Neal tackle. What do you think, guys?
Bucks always deep breaths.
Well, they're identical.
In trouble.
They are.
Pretty much.
Yeah, they are. And did you think Lockie Neal accentuated the No, I don't think he did. And there's some that are. Yeah. It's happening more and more. But, I mean, this is a very much a repeat and probably a little bit less of a circular motion. But it's pretty hard to argue there's not two motions there. There was one arm free, so there might be some light.
Was there an arm free?
Yeah, the top one.
You sure?
Yeah.
I'd love to have another.
We don't see that. I don't think we see much of that in our game now. So players are starting to eradicate that out of their game. I think it's similar to the one with O'Sheen Mullen, and unfortunately, he would be spending a week? Week on the sidelines.
Yeah, another week on the sidelines. Thanks to Industry Super Funds. Let's have a look at what you're looking for in the second half, Bucks.
I want Isaac Rankin to come to the party. He has moments in games. I mean, he's brilliant at what he does. I think at the moment he's feeling the pressure. Like when you get tagged, you can actually beat yourself by stopping working, and he can change direction and jink. And the ball he's going to be in his area quite a bit. I think he can work Answorth over a little bit. I'd like to see his teammates lay some blocks around stoppage in particular and give him a bit of space because he can be the difference.
Well, this one's got plenty to play out in the second half. Brisbane by 9 at quarter time, only 8 at the main change. You can see everyone on the tools at the moment to find how they can break this one open. Plenty more to come from Adelaide Oval.
You're watching Friday Night Footy.
All right, folks, we'll be back in a moment with the commentators. 1 week seems fair for that tackle. I don't know, he didn't go off for the checkup. Maybe he did, but he hit his head pretty hard. I'm surprised he wasn't actually taken out of the game for that one. The tackle was pretty forceful. There was probably no need to take him down so hard. You can see in some of the tackles out there tonight, players are a little bit cautious in the way they do take him down, especially in vulnerable positions for the guy who's getting tackled. So there we go. Yeah, so look, probably a week, but don't forget, I know he did have his arm free, and he's, as far as I'm aware, he's still on the ground, so no worries there. James Peatling. Yeah, I think that was a couple he's done there so far. 1 week seems fair. Tine with the big wave there. The Buditi catcher. There we go. Sana all. Chia. No Buditi because Tine caught it already. I know she's a good Buditi catcher. That's the fish, folks. Spiky fish like the puffer fish we got here. There we go. Well, I tell you what, this is game on. This is game on. Although Brisbane came out running in at second term, Adelaide fought their way back, got a little bit of momentum. I think, like I was saying in the chat there, I think that, probably half the reason why Brisbane are in front, one, because Adelaide aren't kicking straight, but just a bit of the pressure Brisbane are putting on Adelaide. Brisbane just seem a little bit cleaner with the ball and the way they're using it. And I think that's holding them in good stead. I think Adelaide still haven't quite settled so far. They've just got that pressure from the Lions and that perceived pressure, which is, it's accommodating to Adelaide's scoreline at the moment. 5-3-33, the Lions, 3-7-25, Adelaide. Holy moly, I just heard the wind gusting outside. She's windy here. But Adelaide winning that second term by one solitary behind. We're in for a cracking game. You know what? This game can go any way. This is game on. Absolutely game on. Of course, Brisbane Lions came into this game underdogs. Adelaide coming in this game as hot favourites. I think if... B3 only going for Brisbane there. There's quite a few going for Brisbane. But I think if Adelaide actually settle, they could... be the ones to beat in this game come to the end. But we'll see what your predictions, how they unfold coming to the end of the game. But we can have a look at some of the stats at the moment up until half-time while we're waiting for the commentators to get back. A few more goal scorers now up until half-time. Of course, Cam Rayner finally doing something early in a game of football. He's kicked 2 goals, 1 from his 10 disposals, 8 kicks. For Brisbane, Hugh McCluggage. Hey, don't forget your luggage. Zach Bailey, Callum Achee with singles. Of course, for Adelaide, Tex Walker, Josh Rochelle kicked a sensational goal from the boundary. Ben Keys also with a single there for Adelaide. All right, let's just see what they're yakking on about.
Had a draw, so plenty to play out in the second half, and the SA freeze in support of MND.
All right, so while we're just waiting there, just chit-chatting, let's just keep rolling through some of these stats. Will Ashcroft up to 20, the only player in the 20s up to half-time. That's a big number up until half-time. 10 kicks, 10 handballs, 3 marks, 5 tackles, 5 clearance. He's pretty good, isn't he, Will Ashcroft? There you go. Jared Berry. Again, playing well with 18. Ben Keys, best for Adelaide with 14. Rory Laird on 13. Lockie Neal, there we go. Lockie Neal, dual Brownlow medalist, though. From memory, he's got 12, 5 clearances, doing well. Hugh McCluggage with the 12, as I said. James Peatling there with the 11, still playing all right. Zach Bailey, 11. Cam Rayner, 10, as I said, with just the 1 clearance. Let's keep rolling down. Dane Zorko, just with the 9. If Hugh McCluggage's nickname at the club isn't Bags, then what? Missed opportunity. That's it, Hugh McCluggage. Don't forget your luggage. It could be. I'm not sure on what his nickname is. That'd be interesting. You might be able to Google that and find out if that is the case. It certainly should be, shouldn't it? Bags. I like that one. Yeah, that's pretty good. Levi Ashcroft, he's just had the 8 touches, still looking for him to lift a bit. Tex Walker, I tell you what, Riley Thilthorpe and Dawson's sort of taken a bit of Riley Thilthorpe's, space there and mucked him up a couple of times, unfortunately. Tex Walker, though, he's just had the 7 touches, 5 kicks, 1 goal, 1. Riley Thilthorpe yet to get on the ball with a major with just the 1 behind. Still, he's had 8 hit-outs, 3 clearances, 6 kicks, just for the 1 behind. Darcy Fogarty, another one of their guns. He needs to get into the game. He's just had the 7, 5 kicks and a couple of handballs. Hey, here's a player you're saying, he's quiet. He's getting well held tonight. Isaac Ranke from Adelaide, one of their stars. He needs to get up and cracking. He needs to grab the keys and get moving because they need him. Adelaide need him. Kai Lohman for Brizzy just on the 6. He's been a little bit quiet there. There we go. Ty Gallup on the 5. Who else have we got down there? Well, that being said, Eric Hipwood's been pretty quiet as well. He's only had the ball 4 times, 2 kicks, 2 handballs, and a tackle. That's it. Not even hit the scoreboard. Same for Adelaide. Same for Brisbane. Charlie Cameron. There we go. Just the 2 touches. I tell you what. He's hot when he's in form, but gee whiz, I tell you what, he struggles a bit when he's out of form. He's just had the 2 touches, 1 handball, 1 kick. He's had a couple of marks and a couple of tackles. That's about it for Charlie. He needs to get things cracky. Lohman and Robinson on. Let's go. All right, let's go and check out. What do we want to have a look at? The team stats. All right, Lions getting ahead there. Addy G. All that matters is Freo is in the top 8. Football news, France-Spain was rigged game, was it? I don't know, it could have been, you just never know. That's why we love football and not soccer. If you're talking about soccer, there we go. Yeah, football will always be number 1 in the land down under. Plus 33 disposals to the Lions, it's 15 kicks. Well, 16 handballs, there we go. 18 handballs plus, I should say. Inside 50s, there we go. Well, it's actually Adelaide, 27 inside 50s for their 10 scoring shots. Brisbane Lions, 8 scoring shots, 23 inside 50s. As I said, they're just a bit cleaner with the ball. So I think we're in for a real ring-a-ding-ding. And I mean, this shows a little bit too, doesn't it? The disposal efficiency. Adelaide down to 65.8. They're well down. They need to lift that up. Yeah, it's Bags. Google confirms. Santa, all good stuff. Bags. I tell you what, yeah, it's a good name, isn't it? It's a good name, Bags. And very appropriate for McCluggage. Don't forget your luggage. 68% for Brisbane. A little bit down, but doing a bit better. And that's probably the difference in this game. I think if Adelaide were a little bit more cleaner and used it more wisely, they'd be having, a little bit more. You know, I think Adelaide has still got to clean up their forward line as well. Let me talk about that in a second. 18 to 13 free kicks. Umpires having a field day blowing their whistle. They must have got some new whistles, testing them out tonight. 31 free kicks so far in this game. Adelaide, of course, plus 5. Home crowd always loves getting more free kicks. More free kicks. There we go. Hit outs, Adelaide by 9. Clearances, Lions plus 3 up until half time. Not bad. Everything's reasonably similar. Centre clearances, Adelaide just by the 1, but stoppage clearances a little bit better around there for the Lions plus 4. Contested possessions, pretty tight. 75-77. Uncontested, Lions just controlling that ball a little bit better. As I said, Lions just putting that pressure on Adelaide a bit. Cricks or kicks? I know, I got my words mixed up. Kicks. My gosh. 36-39 turnovers. A little bit high, as I said. Good pressure game, this one. The marks 35-37. Marks inside 50. There we go. Even though it's 4, yeah, I know they've been out probably not within 30 of goals. So, and Lions have only got 1, so they'll need to do a little bit better in that area. Both teams, so both defences working reasonably well. Contested marks though. Adelaide a bit stronger, 10-3 in the air with the marks. Tackles, both teams tackling pretty good. Both high numbers in the tackle count. 47 for Adelaide, 62 is their average, so they're well above that. Same with the Lions on 40. I said high pressure game, both defences. I tell you what, tackles inside 50, 4 apiece. I tell you what, she was pretty hard in that opening quarter, folks. She was pretty hard in that opening quarter. Players are getting met solidly. Some fierce tackles, some hard hits. Whew, I tell you what, some of these boys, they're going to be tired and sore tomorrow after tonight's game, but it's an absolute cracker. But I think for mine, Adelaide need to get their forward line. Just get Dawson and Phil Thorpe, get them away, give them their one-on-one space with Tex down there, give them their one-on-one space. Don't contest the ball together. Use the strength and power, and you might get the job done. Yay, licks, Tino. No, not licks, kicks, not cricks, not licks, kicks. Oriba, cheer, Oriba. All right, hey, you know what? That's enough of me jibber-jabbering, folks. Let's get back down to where the real action is, and that's, of course, on the ground, Adelaide Oval. The umpire's got the ball. He's just a moment away from bouncing it. Players are ready. Let's head down for the second half. It's the Lions by 8 points.
Smith brings a wealth of experience for Adelaide, and Devon Robertson has been the sub the past couple of weeks for the Lions and is so again tonight.
So what will the third quarter bring on a wintry night at the Adelaide Oval? Home team got going late in the second term, but still it's the reigning premiers to dictate terms. McCluggage to half forward, Rayner bursting through. And it was Butts who got a hand to it.
He's been great. He's been explosive. Score involvement's been really busy.
Just puts the head down and hits it on the run. May have been able to shoot the hand pass out. Chose to go the snap, didn't quite get it.
He's kicked 2 goals, 1, and that goes up as a rush behind. Leicester spoils the kick in to keep it in Lions territory. Laird committed himself, but he had company. Berry offloaded. Michaelani overwhelms. Laird does clear for the Crows. Up near Thilthorpe. He's been there, get out all night. Fogarty onto it. Feeds it up to Soligo. Takes it in the Keys direction. Ainsworth left his man, so Berry's head back. Contact was made as the rain starts to fall at the start of the second half. Berry is the target deep. With the flight, Hitwood, sweet spoil near Bullens, the Crows' only hope.
So nothing's changed. Keys on Zorko, led him to the footy. He was too quick. Zorko had to then try and drop back and cover Ainsworth's man, who had to came up and put a halt to Keys' run.
Ducking for cover in the crowd. That luxury not an option for the players out there. Rain teeming down in front of the old scoreboard. Shallow throw for O'Brien. The moment passes. Wilmot's kicked there. There's danger in all of it. Soligo, can he get his footing? He plays it back to Thilthorpe. Was wrong-sided initially. Scrambled it into the pocket. Curtin lets it bounce. And he just became sitting duck for the tackle.
It's one of the 2 late goals to Adelaide is so important with this rain coming down now. 5 goals to 1 with this sort of rain. Big issue. But they've squared it up or evened it up. Got it back to just the 9 points.
Hard going for everyone. Even the boundary umpire hurls it back. O'Brien camped in front. Slipped to Rochelle. They'll get there, and that will get them going even more. Second for Rochelle. His skills on display again at the Adelaide Oval.
I talked about Rankin only needing a couple of moments to separate this game. Rochelle's had 2 of those moments. He's kicked the goal from outside the boundary to get them back into the contest in that second quarter. And now he's just on the run here. Keeps moving, keeps mobile out the back. And full credit to the big fella Riley O'Brien, who's taken front spot on both occasions. And Darcy Wilmot just gets led to the ball by Rochelle. And don't underestimate the kick in these conditions either. So he's had 2 big magical moments that have brought him right back into the contest.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see as many Crows get over to Riley O'Brien as they did to Josh Rochelle. Critical goal, but beautifully set up on the big man.
That's 10 goals in 3 weeks for Rochelle.
It's 3 in a row, and he had 2 of them. Stoppage game again, won by the Lions. Dunkley tosses it forward. Awkward bouncing ball. Charlie Cameron got it going. Worrell and Laird stepped out of a tight spot. Miller links it up. Michaelani, sharp hands in the conditions. Laird up to the wing. Well controlled by Payne. Diffused the scenario well.
Going to respond to the Lions, so giving up the last 3 goals of the game.
It's a crowd up at half forward. Thornton O'Brien. Crows Ruckman put his fist into it, then knocked it to Dunkley. Charged down by Soligo. Dunkley gets another look. Payne on the follow-up. Out on the fall.
John Butts. Sort of Butts.
Butts given the instructions to take it. Not John, but Jordan. Just a poke forwards. Thilthorpe flies from deep, off hands, out of play.
So this is the challenge now. You've got to slot back into that mode that you had at the start of this game, where it gets back to contested footy and tackle pressure and closing down. Just head over the ball again.
So Murray Davis there, he's offside of 13 years at Brisbane. So as Matthew Nick said, they know how they play, the reigning premiers, but it's another thing stopping them. This is around. Bailey got out. Buried a half forward, Hipwood in front, and got a shove from Butts.
Well, he gets a look at it on the back of 2 broken tackles, which just weren't happening early in the game. The Adelaide Crows have had a really good quarter and a half. I'd be disappointed they didn't stop that at centre wing.
So it hasn't been a night for full forwards at this stage, which is easily explainable by the conditions. He's competed hard, Eric Hipwood, and he won't take on the journey of 55 metres. He set it up a little too predictable for the Adelaide defence to sink their fist into. And you can see the leaders of the Lions. They realise how important these few minutes could be. Josh Dunkley, Lucky Neil said pre-match to the boys that it was his favourite teammate he's ever played with. What Adelaide that was. On the throw. Clears both ruck. Rayner are ready for him that time.
So you've got to keep an eye on Charlie Cameron at these stoppages. Michael Annie is doing a lot of holding. The umpire must have put the whistle to the mouth a couple of times.
O'Brien hands to it. Dunkley.
Must have been watching exactly the same thing as you, Jace.
He's gone back to the goal square now, but he's been coming up to the stoppage and then running through. And he's just been getting tackled off the ball.
Up it goes, O'Brien again. Dunkley trying to connect with Lohman. Instead, Miller jams it back to the wing. Fogarty in a wrestle. Andrews barely scrapes a handball out. Berry took it, waited, floated. Back at him from Neil Bullen. Now the kick, no, not yet, into the 50. Now it comes, it's high. We wait, floating ball, knocked away. Yes, that was Butts down there. Had to have a second look at it. Butts intruding into the forward line, and Hipwood went all the way with him.
And that spoil was elite from Hipwood. That was a beauty. A 20-metre spoil out towards the boundary. We didn't expect to see them down there.
Came about because back on the half-back flank, he turned for support for the handball backwards, and Payne was about 50 metres away. He thought he was going to be 5 away.
Every man must serve on a night like tonight. Ricochet came the way of coming. No penetration in the kick. Up goes Berry. Land and go. Somehow got it onto the boot. And back the lone man as Worrell controls the play for the Crows to Keane. Touches it down ever so carefully. And then gives them a look up inside the 50. Needs Neil Bullen. Leicester tried the one-hander. Tidied up by Zorko. Blasted back into centre field. Spoil made by Keane. Miller is there. And then off to Worrell. It's just kick to kick at the moment. Berry offloaded by Berry. Rankin onto the footy. What's he got? Saligo, Rankin trying to work him into space. Andrews' job to close that down. Touch his boot on the way over. No umpire says a throw in.
It's got agricultural again here. Just bang it on the boot, get some distance, and get back to work in the contest.
O'Brien this time approaches it from behind. Engages with Fort, got to the front. Body's flashing through. O'Brien again. Gets it in deep and deep and deeper.
Let's go, move out, Josh. Alice.
It gets closer all the time. Couple of points now. From 21 down. Fort's the target on the long kick in. O'Brien with him every step of the way. Lohman tackled by O'Brien. Good stuff by the ruckman.
Big boy's had a good start to this third quarter, Rolly O'Brien. He's had some really good moments.
60 out from the Adelaide goal. A lot of movement. Keys toppled over his own man and allowed the Lions out. They look to build. McCluggage checked his kick. Lohman, McCluggage on the fly. Open forward, set up ahead. Charlie Cameron. Archie wants it out the back. He's inclined to oblige, and Archie rises cut mark. Laird harries him every step of the way. Keane offers support. And the Crows defenders see it over.
Great defence. Rory Laird's defence was as good as the McCluggage kick to Charlie Cameron. He just drew Cameron to the ball with his kick inside forward 50 then, and then for Laird to close down Archie, not give a free kick away, outstanding. Have a look at this kick here. I didn't know this next one.
All back in motion. Cameron. Perfect time for a cameo from Charlie.
Well, he's been threatening. He's been threatening at a lot of stoppages, just trying to get on the burst, and on most occasions he's been retarded. But now Charlie's able to impose himself. That's a terrific stoppage goal.
Well, the thing about it was, Jace, because, as you mentioned before, he's been around, he has to do this. He's got to keep moving. He's got to keep moving, and if he does keep moving, he'll either draw the attention of the umpire to him, or he'll get some space like this.
And what he was able to do was use McCluggage as a shield, and that was what broke the gap, broke the hole between Michael Annie and himself.
But Michael Annie's done a really good job.
Yeah,
I know you push the boundary, and if you get pinged, you get pinged. I think he's defended him really, really well. But this is what Charlie has to do. He must stay in motion.
4 years a Crow, Charlie Cameron, got in the 2017 Grand Final.
Against Brisbane. So throw it up here. Here we go.
He has played in bursts this year, so it's red alert for the Crows on Cameron. Thoughts down to Will Ashcroft, taken down. Peatling beyond the middle. It's a lightning hand pass. Soligo up to full forward. Thilthorpe brings it to ground, then barges through. Tex can't release the hand pass. Lions turn to hold up in defence. Fort, neat tap down to Levi Ashcroft. Rayner's the target on the way out. Hinge the spoil. Dawson can't get it to his boots. Worrell kept it alive. Hinge harried every step of the way. And not able to release. Hand-to-hand combat in close.
Riley, Darcy.
O'Brien into open space. Will that pan out? Berry first access. McCluggage trying to drop Peatling. Couldn't. Holding the ball.
So it's this forward half intercept we're talking about. So get the game in your half of the ground and then go to work. And you go to work like this with Peatling. This is the tackling pressure Adelaide had in the first 10 or 15 minutes. Great result. Keep it in your half until you score.
Been quite the acquisition. Peatling, awful kick. Well handled by Bailey, and that might hurt. He just unloads for territory down the wing. It's poorly done, really.
That's a disappointing kick. They had the option then to set something up. They had a real opportunity, and he just belted it as far as he could.
Heads again towards half forward. Dawson didn't mark it, but stays dangerous. Well attended to by Dunkley, ever reliable in those stakes. Soligo went searching for Cumming. Into the pocket again, high ball. Thilthorpe denied at both angles. Payne and Lester working in tandem and working so well. He's been so near Thilthorpe, hasn't he? Having a big impact on this game.
Dunkley's done a great job on Dawson, by the way. Only the 10 touches for the Adelaide skipper.
So many of those individual battles as well as the collective. So vital in such a game. 8 points in it. Berry bobbing up and down. Got it away to McCluggage again. Bit of a chase. Butts has a couple of yards on Hipwood. Cruelest of bounces. He had to back up. Keane, though, caught by Gallup and no whistle.
How did he get rid of it?
Hard to explain why. Quick kick. Bit of a rugged one from Dunkley. Levi Ashcroft. There's a clear path to goal. He ignored the middleman. He went long to Archie. And that favours Michael Annie. Quickly turns back the other way to the acclaim of the crowd. If they can get it to safety, it'll be a win. Well, it's not to safety because it's coming back, but it's much better than the goal that looked like it was coming.
Oh, they had a 2-on-1. He just had to pick the right option, Ashcroft.
Jared Berry's had plenty of it, more than any other Lion. Up into the pocket, can't find a target, and out of play.
Let's see if we can get a beat on Charlie Cameron here. So dangerous at this last stoppage. We won't get a beat on him because he's on the bench.
Lions set up. Forward 50 stoppage. Plenty of movement around the front. Crows have it well shut down. Dawson's hand pass. Keys trying to make something of it. Lost it. McCluggage brushed his way into open space and fought.
Gee, that's a clever kick. That is a really clever kick. The impulse when you get the ball on the boundary in traffic like that is to get a quick snap away. Or maybe just throw it on the boot into the hot spot. But he actually bought himself a bit of time, and then he saw Darcy Ford in space And they've created a really good goal-scoring opportunity.
His last 3 kicks, Hugh McCluggage,
pretty good at
been absolutely elite.
He knows his way around a set shot. Darcy Forks. 18 career goals from 49 out. 6 left all the way. 9-point margin in favour of the Lions.
Don't wait for the signal.
It's a really interesting time in this game here.
Thank you.
He really was paid to wait.
Make a good lollipop man.
Yeah.
An umpire. Gotta wait for the signal.
Hopefully that's a few years to come for him. He's into the back pocket. Ford had a look around, see what was with him. Barry Dunkley's hands were good to Payne, to Ainsworth, and he provided the protection for McCluggage. Again, cluster of players at half forward. Hinge came bursting through, but Ashcroft, a little kick through the gap. Charlie with the hands out, expecting it. Well done, Butts with the fumble over the boundary line. Disappointment for the Brisbane forwards, who are hungry now. Holding on to this 9-point advantage. Winter well and truly arriving in Adelaide. Proving ground for the Adelaide Crows tonight. On the throw, O'Brien. Forward. Oh, Perry so close. Rankin in the back pocket rather than the forward. The half-back was awkward for Taylor Walker, but he'll take it. Against Leicester.
Been 5 marks taken in this third quarter. Adelaide have taken 1 mark for the quarter. So it's hard graft at the moment.
To half forward, players waiting for the right moment to fly. Well, in the end, neither did. Dunkley again gets the better of Dawson. Such a versatile player. Dawson can take many an opponent deep, which he's doing now. So it will test Dunkley. He too has plenty of attributes, with and without the footy. 4th attack, Rankin came flying through, drew some contact, not enough for the whistle to blow. Neil always thinks about his way out of a little bind. Quick kick from the ruckman fort to the wing, no mark to Morris, sweeping through Keane, cool and calm. Worrell back again. Payne had a good look at this down the line, sunk the fist. Rankin wasn't designed for Fogarty, but that'll do. The fit of the fumbles is over. The goal was there. Tossed it up instead on the goal line. Dawson, it took him as deep as possible, but didn't take the mark. Instead, it's Zorko scheming for Brisbane on the long kick. Out to Cameron. And over it goes. The very careful Miller at that time.
The inside 50 kick wasn't meant for Fogarty. He just got his hand in it there. And he had Keys as well, because Zorko run off him again.
The game has delivered as one-on-one defensive efforts. Peatling's turn at the stoppage, gets right under it. Pedler has to wait, coming with the flight. He ran carelessly into Payne. He's lost his bearings.
I think Chris Fagan might have recognised that Zorko matchup, Gaz, and it looks like Jasper Fletcher's gone on to Ben Keys.
Payne thought about the switch. He'll just stay with a long slug down the line. Morris brought it to ground. He's onto it. Laird is camped back, waiting to intercept. Couldn't quite handle the half volley. Escapes out of play. 9 to go in the third term. Played in the guise of the first quarter. 1 goal apiece.
Played between the arcs, Jared. Only 8 inside 50s to Brisbane and 9 to Adelaide for the quarter.
It's hard going. A burst of rain freshened things up. Slippery and treacherous conditions. Rankin can't keep it in. Snow changing direction. Not given the pressure and not given the slippery surface. These two have been at it in the ruck all night. O'Brien guides it down. Peatling just about missed his boot. Ainsworth as a result. Levi Ashcroft back toward the 50. Archie drew a crowd and Miller as the third man in.
Good mark and quickly to the outside to Rankin, who takes the early bounce as he's prone to do. Up to half forward, Dawson in front. Dunkley does not give an inch. and Leicester skip back to the 50.
They tidy up what they do when they go forward, the Brisbane Lions. So 25 kicks inside 50, they've kept 5 of them. So if they tidy that up, the gap will open.
Big swing and a miss. Rochelle bumped as he kicked, but it's fine to Pedler. Scouts the 50. 3 individual one-on-one contests. They converge with Dawson and Fogarty and what might have been again.
I always like it when there's a forward that comes back into a full forward space like this. So Fogarty hasn't even looked at Dawson.
Let's keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for Rochelle. He's got 2 in this situation.
He was on the move, but Ashcroft put it on the boot and then chipped and chased afterwards. Loman hasn't been a factor tonight. Just takes it back over the line and over the fence. A couple of low 5s, side 5s. Made their night. Still it's a 9-point ball game. 8 minutes to go. This is where the boxing glove came out in the second quarter.
Like to see it again?
Something's going up down there.
The grapple. Bailey underneath, sharp hands. Will Ashcroft got it one way or another. Fletcher bumbled it up the boundary. We'll get to the next stoppage.
But the message for both of them is just to play what's in front of you, because it's not opening up at the moment like it did towards the back half of that second quarter. So you just got to play the moment here. At some stage it'll present an opportunity. But right now it is just hard work.
It's not a night for refined strategy, no matter what's been planned. Peatling got an extra touch, but not to advantage. Fletcher for the Lions, up to half forward. Archie couldn't pull it down because Keane is so sure-handed these days. Yet another intercept mark as his reputation blossoms. Back to the contest. Fought, disrupted. Fletcher ran out of space.
You can see Fletcher there on Keys. I suspect that'll be a much tighter matchup than we saw with Zorko and Keys.
Have to throw in. Thilthorpe up to do a little bit of ruck work. Bailey, Will Ashcroft, Neil, great hands in tight as ever. Fletcher, Wilmot makes it up as he goes, including have a daredevil bounce. Wilmot over the top to Dunkley, has a look at the deep targets. He set it up for Rayner. He's outnumbered and Keane bats it away. Score conceded.
That's what the game needs, a bit of Darcy Wilmot, a bit of run and carry and a bit of dare.
Quickly into Hinge, along the line with speed to Curtin, who marks. He's got Rankin as the obvious. Takes it. He looks further afield. There's Thilthorpe, there's Fogarty. Hinge covering and offering as he buzzed past. All of that ignored for now. Thumps it down the line to the prime targets. Both held their ground. Kicked it quickly. Taken over the line and out of bounds.
Well defended by Zorko.
Yeah, that was good. He attacked the footy, didn't he?
He had that awful feeling as he ran towards it. It was going to bounce over his head and he was going to be exposed. So he found a yard and got it out of bounds.
Shelley wasn't quite close enough for that occasion. On the throw. Oh, Keys. Tough bounce for Shelley again. Thrusting through. Berry. Was the tackle high? No. Fogarty got set. Walked away brilliantly though by Ashcroft. Levi. Back to Charlie Cameron. So really everyone does have to play their part wherever it is on the ground. Bailey takes it wide and full stretch. Nice mark to Young. Gallop. Sunshine Coast boy. Wouldn't have played in these conditions too many times. Going off. Quickly to Neil. Thumps it deep. Archie. Leaves it for Morris to fly. Good decision. They spread and they bolt. Back to the square. Cameron was in defence moments ago. Now he's the target. Couldn't quite hang on as it ratcheted in quickly. Worrell the step required to Dawson. Bit of a blind kick. It went to Hipwood. Just couldn't sneak in front there.
That's Dawson's second possession for the quarter. Dunkley's had 7.
Kick dragged in the Morris direction. Just pat at the air and go back and take a shot.
Yeah, so he's a talent, this kid.
That would have been the perfect kick to Charlie Cameron, except he just stumbled when he went to take off.
out of position here. He just gets one hand in to get it, knock it to his advantage.
Morris took a lot of shots last week, 2, 3 and 1 out of bounds.
This is the Rochelle spot.
It is.
Can he match the deed of the Mercurial Crow? Morris, no he won't.
He hasn't quite got that skill set of Josh Rochelle, but he's a willing competitor.
Laird. Close to full extension on the kick to Curtin, who was a good target. Bubble up and down with Peatling and Wilmot. Peatling out of position, but sort of a backwards cuddle kind of tackle. Enough to slow him and force another ball up. 10 points the difference at the Adelaide Oval. Game in a holding pattern. Can someone break through? Neil tries to get creative. Bailey always represents some sort of danger. Peatling, kick smothered immediately by Dunkley. Who else? Knocked away from O'Brien. A toppling gallop goes to ground. Rankin takes 35. Asks a lot of Phil Thorpe at full stretch. Even eludes Neil Bullen. The bulk of the skill from Fogarty. Curtin's kick creative. Rankin. Only that man Fletcher between him and Pedler. And the goals. Everyone knows it's coming. It only just got there. But get there it does. And the Crows aren't far away now. And they will have this home crowd to try and take them all the way.
50-50 ball in the air. Rankin and Fletcher, I think it was.
Yep.
And whoever won that tap was going to win the ball for their team. But if it was Adelaide, it was going to result in a goal.
Good body work there from Fogarty.
Yeah,
big backside, made some space. It was like a basketball jumper. We looked at high. And he was, well, in the end, I think Fletcher's a fantastic athlete. So for Isaac Rankin to be able to get a hand on it was a terrific effort. We shouldn't be surprised. They're close to within 4 points. 2 goal to 1 quarter. Goals are so valuable. Moments like that from your superstars are the thing that's probably going to separate it at the end.
It's so full of tension whenever it's in the scoring zone. Gallup has come to the bench.
Here we go.
Crowd rises here in Adelaide, but it's coming straight the Lions' way. Neil pumps it in the Hipwood direction, tried the one-hander. Archie, what a gather, and Rayner will waltz it in. They'll give it to Cameron, and Charlie blasts it home. And doesn't the crowd hate that?
The quickest of answers.
Jace, you and I never ventured into the centre square too often, but to leave Lockie Neal at the front of this stoppage, all of our friends back in the studio will be sitting at this and going to work on it, because I'm not sure how you leave Lockie Neal. So whoever that was that left him, was it Berry? I think Berry just charged forward and left the Jill Brownlow medalist sitting at the back there, which is unforgivable. And they got their right whack in the end, because you give that man some space and let these boys go to work inside forward 50, you're going to end up with this result.
What a combo it was up forward too. All played their part. Didn't they enjoy it, the way they celebrated that goal?
I reckon Berry's going to stay with Neil this time.
James Peatling. He won't do the same thing.
Berry volleys it down pretty cleverly to O'Brien, but the back piece kick is marked pretty well by Zorko. There's some width from Levi Ashcroft. Cluggage and Berry, they're moving laterally across the ground. Darcy fought. I think Ruckland's also pushed forward. Instead of sort of identify an old one-on-one, and Berry used his bulk to advantage that time. Soligo. Slow play this time. Game back at 10 points. Been that way for a lot of the night. Kick goes wide at full stretch, Andrews. Whatever it takes, he'll do it. Bit of a limp up.
It's Ty Gallup here playing on debut. Just gets an inadvertent back of the shoulder from Dan Curtin. We'll probably have a look at him, I would imagine.
They took him down.
They've gone down there, yep.
O'Brien again holds sway. Keys came flashing one way, Neil the other. And he prevailed to the Ashcrofts, and it's Will. A hand pass back to Fletcher. Crafts the kick for Archie. Had to wait for it to bounce. Hit him hard. So did Miller. Handball from Hipwood promising to Cameron. Look at them go, and when they do, they are so hard to contain. Ashcroft to the inside. McCluggage got his foot grounded only partially. Ashcroft has to go again. No problem. Redouble the effort. Left foot kick. It's a bit of a floater. Fisted away safely. Cameron again with the deftest of touches. Hip put back outside. Do it all again. Fletcher into the pocket. Really pressing here on this Adelaide defence. Keen as a whistle.
Yeah, against Bailey, I reckon. So that Bailey pushed him under the footy pretty aggressively, I think.
Let's go to Hinge. There you go.
There it is. Now it wasn't picked up. Close maybe is unsighted.
Hinge rifles it out. It gets through a few hands. Thilthorpe as a result to an open set up the running race. Cutting the angle is Answorth, and he brushed his way through. Lions with a repeat entry, and they're wide open. McCluggage stands his ground. Bailey wanted it desperately out to the left. McCluggage will take responsibility.
That's the moment. That's one of the moments that they're going to separate this game, and Answorth reads it better than Rochelle. Rochelle starts to head back, and Answorth says, no, I'll come up to the contest. And then he finds a free McCluggage. Big moment.
I thought Riley Thilthorpe had a hand pass option rather than the quick kick.
Fourth on the coaches' votes and the overall. Hugh McCluggage kicking for his second. Not this time. Lions by 11.
Conversions, everything tonight. You think there's only going to be a kick or two in this game.
Beautifully designed kick from Hinge for Miller. Played every game this season.
What do you think at quarter time, the coaches, Jace? Like, we've got less than a minute now. They're going conservative down the line. Will one of them open this up or not?
Free rein for Harris Andrews there. Off to Zorko, and there's plenty of open pastures ahead. Morris on the turnaround. Top of the goal square. Loman is well set. Took far too long for the Adelaide Crows to even think about covering him.
Thought Charlie Cameron did some good work off the ball just to interfere enough without providing a full block to allow the ball to get to Loman, and he should kick this goal.
It's a huge kick. Going at three-quarter time for a team who's only kicked 5 goals in 3 quarters to be, potentially just under 3 goals down. This is a big kick.
8 possessions, no score. You've got to make the most of these. This is as good a look as you get.
A frustrating season for a grand final hero. But right on the siren at three-quarter time. There's a perfect opportunity to play a big part. Getting things going again, Kai Loman. And every time Adelaide challenge, and the challenge has been real in this third quarter, Brisbane have answered.
It's a terrific intercept mark again. Forward half game from both teams has been really strong. So I guess the question now on the three-quarter time siren, I'll ask it again at 16 points down. Does Matthew Nicks ask for something a bit more aggressive?
Well, it was a great intercept mark from Andrews, but what was almost better was the hand pass into the corridor that released Zorko. He got the quick kick in, and you'll just see here, look at Cameron. Just does enough to put Hinge off from the spoil.
It's actually a great kick. He pulled it in the end. We've got a boxing glove and a fist. Work that out for us, Jared.
Fight your buggers! It's that sort of night. Three-quarter time. Those last 2 goals just count for so much for the Brisbane Lions, who turned 17 points clear.
And that is going to be hard to catch on a night like this. And speaking of nights, it is the night of nights in terms of love and history and tradition and legacy. It is the Hall of Fame.
All right, while they're doing that, hey, folks, three-quarter time here. The Lions just getting away a little bit with that last goal pretty much on the siren. I'll tell you what, 7:55, the Lions 17 points out on the lead. 5-8-38, the Crows. 2 goals won the Crows in that third term. 3 goals for to the Lions. So it was probably lucky the Lions kicked a little bit skew-if in that third term. Tell you what, I thought the Crows were coming hard in that game. There was, I'll tell you what, there was a good opportunity for the Crows to score there, but it rebounded fast down to the Lions' forward line. And, of course, missed it, but it was still down there, and they ended up getting a goal out of it. Tell you what, the forward lines haven't really been working well, but the Lions seem, in that last 5 minutes of that third term, to seem to get a little bit of nice run about their game. It did look good. I feel like Brisbane going to kick the next 3 goals. Staff Sergeant, you reckon? I tell you what, they may do. Adelaide's forward line's just not connecting well with each other. I tell you what, this is going to be super tough for Adelaide to come back. I know it's only 3 goals, and we always say 3 goals is nothing in football. They can put that on in 4 minutes. But gee whiz, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to overrun the Lions. This isn't a team like Fremantle you can run over. This is the Brisbane Lions, which are a pretty tough team. And unless Adelaide get that forward line working, well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be pretty tough. The Lions are eating crow pie at the moment. They certainly are. They certainly are. Let's have a look at the goal scorers now. Up till three-quarter time. You can keep a tally on them. Cam Rayner with 2. Charlie Cameron, well, he did get a soft one. Both got 2 for the Lions. Hugh McCluggage, well, he put 1 in the bag and left the suitcase open with the other. He's got 1 goal, 1. Kai Lohman with 1. Zach Bailey, Calamachi for Adelaide. The Crow Eaters. Josh Rochelle with 2. Tex Taylor Walker with 1. Luke Pedler, Ben Keys. Tell you what, they need a big lift in this final term. Come on, Adelaide, it's like a finals. When I grow up, I want to be a Brisbane Lions player. The Mean Crafter, I tell you what, I hope you do. Follow your dream. It's hard work. Get there, but hey, good luck. We hope you make it there. And if you do make a comeback and say, g'day, remember me? I now play for the Brisbane Lions. Hopefully you get there. There we go. 27, Will Ashcroft leading the way by 4. 12 and 15. 6 clearances doing well. Jarrett Berry, 23. Hugh McCluggage, Bags, as they call him, 20. Lockie Neal, 19, with Jasper Fletcher, top 5. Rory Laird continues to lead the way for Adelaide, 18. Saligo, 17. Keys, 17. There we go. Josh Dunkley, actually haven't heard too much of his name being called, but he's got 16, 3 clearances. There we go. Dane Zorko, the 14, always does well down back. Ranky, he's just been quiet tonight, hasn't he, for Adelaide with 13. Cam Rayner still with 12, 2 goals, 1. That's very nice, very nice. Riley Thilthorpe, come on, Riley. You got to get on the board. Get on the board, son. Give him a lift. Just the one behind. All right, Taylor, the Tex, he's only got 1 goal, 1. Need a big lift out of their forwards. Charlie Cameron picked up in that third term 2 goals. Eric Hipwood still yet to register a score of any kind there. All right, hey, that's enough of me. Let me put that back. I'll stop talking for a moment. We'll come through the stats, the final stats. This just proves Adelaide's still a few years away from being a real premiership threat. Yeah, I don't know whether it's just their game plan or they're just unable to execute well enough. But look, you know, they've shown enough this year to be well in contention. But you know, that being said, they haven't done a great deal wrong in tonight's game. Brisbane have just been cleaner with the ball, just making some better decisions. Brisbane are just a classy side. There's no mistake about that. You know, it's what it comes down to. And Brisbane's forward line's just been a little bit tidier than Adelaide's. And I think that's the difference in the two sides today. I tell you what, hey, folks, it's only 17 points, 3 goals. The difference, anything is going to happen. It still could come down to the final kick of the quarter. Exactly right. Brisbane cleaner in class, yeah. They are. They absolutely are. A lot of the time, their big guns stand up. Big guns stand up. Don't go missing. All right, that's enough for me. Let's get back down to the action. It's the Lions by 17 points. Come on, Adelaide. Let's make it a tight one.
That big scalp that they've been after and risk being done by 6 or 7, or they're going to fall short just
Well, what they do have to do is kick the first goal right now.
They've made the sub. Butts has been subbed off tactically.
Well, there you go. So they're taking a defender out and they're going to try and get some run into the game and see if they can get on a bit of a roll. Because if they kick the first goal, the crowd gets involved. And then it becomes a different equation. But if Brisbane kick the first goal, well, that'll just about make it, you know.
Well, and then you're back to the stage where we're going to look at Adelaide and go for the 5th time they've come up against a team and they've just fallen short. So it's a huge last quarter for them.
I love that roll of the dice, though. Defender off.
Yeah, I do. That is a mindset. Let's see if it plays its head out early in this match. Brisbane have been outstanding, I reckon. They have, we've got to give absolute credit to them. Every time they've been challenged, they've found a way to work their way back into it. Huge last quarter for both sides.
The champs are hard to bring down. Brisbane take a 17-point lead into this final term, and Fort wins the opening tap. Reaching for it, Neil, wrapped up by Saligo.
So butts off, and Brodie Smith, so another defender, but more of a running defender.
On the fly, Neil, thwarted. Scrounge for it, off the ground. Laird put it into open space. Levi Ashcroft dragged down, somehow managed to kick, and Laird was there. Hurtling back. On the wraparound, Dawson. How daring are the Crows prepared to be? Over the top of Fogarty. It falls for Dilthorpe, who's threatened all night. What a start for the Crows in the final term. The imposing figure of Riley Dilthorpe to lift the whole environment.
Well, it's exactly what we spoke about. The Crows had to kick the first, and the big man provides it. And what does he do when he kicks it? He turns and goes to the crowd. They want to get this home crowd up and about, and that's how you do it. You start to work your way back into the game. It's a brilliant finish. So he holds the pain under the ball, collects it, and then that is an exquisite finish.
It is. The other thing was the mindset of what happened out on the back flank when they took possession. The wraparound from Dawson, and they went bang. They're not sitting back on their heels. They're going to go, and they're going to move it quickly and give their forwards a chance at a one-on-one. And Riley Dilthorpe, that's some magic there from the big man.
Rankin and Raynor both into the middle of the ground.
28th goal for the season. What a time for it. It closes again. Under 2 goals.
Urgency, dare, run, and some brilliance.
Huge numbers around this stoppage. Easy to get in, hard to get out. Ashcroft buried the head, fired it out to Dunkley. There's 45 valuable metres. Tough bounce for Keane. Morris. Laird challenge came immediately. Slipped through the next run. Curtin, Worrell. Just slam it and hope for the best. They had the representation. Dawson. Rochelle pushes forward. Hard. Dilthorpe though overhead. Keys gets balance. Leads up to the football. These two might do it again.
Well, he's done it on Zorko. Now he's got Jasper Fletcher. And he becomes such an attacking threat. He works hard defensively, but when there's a ball to be won, he's as good as anyone at winning it. Ben Keys, he will work, he will make space, he will present. And now he gets the opportunity to really bring this crowd to boil.
4 years at Brisbane for just 30 games. He's got his own unique style. His captain called him a little eccentric. But from 40 metres out, there's no one more popular right now in the city of Adelaide. 2 for Ben Keys. This is really getting interesting now.
That's exactly what the game needed. The crowd are up and they're going, and it's back to the reigning champs to see what they've got. They've had the answers all night. Jordan Dawson's a man, boys. Jordan Dawson, who's had his colours lowered by Josh Dunkley in the early part of this game, is the man in this last quarter. Big contested mark here. Rochelle reads it quick, gets on the move, and all of a sudden the understanding between mid and forward is absolutely exquisite. Heading back to goal, points to a spot, good enough to kick it. Dawson's the one that's lit the fire here in this last quarter. The Crows have kicked 2 in a row and close to 5. Crowd's involved. What do you got, Lions?
The Crows drew to this point twice in the third term and were repelled. So back to Brisbane to provide another answer. Neil has been well marked by Saligo in the first few stoppages of this term. Saligo ferrets a kick forward. Berry couldn't handle it. One Berry to the other. Coming, tried to put Laird into open space. He had to turn tackler on Archie.
Oh, they're feeling it. The crowd are feeling it. It's irrepressible at the minute. Just belt it, charge it, push it forward.
Muscle it forward by any means necessary. Levi Ashcroft against the flow. Berry out the far side for the Lions. Pitches, Worrell attacks. Will Ashcroft stopped him in his tracks.
It's going to take some sort of side now to stand up in the way of this momentum. You know Brisbane can.
Levi Ashcroft had his kick smothered by O'Brien. Rankin tried to create. Didn't quite amount to anything at the first. Will Ashcroft shot it out. Miller having none of it. He was taken high by Archie.
Takes the kick. Fogarty is his focus. Andrews as always. O'Brien, it's slow but it's effective. Neil Bullen gives them a chance. coming in front. Berry just enough. The two wingers whacking away. Payne squirts the handball. He needed Leicester. He got him. Berry again, back to the middle. Buys a bit of time and space. The long sleeve Smith activated. What a challenge to contain Rayner. He's a very hard man to stop. That is an excellent start. No whistle, no matter. Off to Michael Lennon. Gathered himself. Best opportunity. Oh, what a leap!
There he is.
Dawson, the captain. Oh.
He has taken it upon himself. I watched him the whole transition here, and he just said to Josh Dunkley, I've had a couple in the middle now, I'm going to take you forward and test you here, and he just willed himself to the mark. This is leadership personified here from Jordan Dawson, and if he goes back and kicks this and puts him in front, just sit back and have a listen.
For the lead. This will bring the house down. The house is down. Adelaide in front.
It's been an extraordinary opening 5 minutes or so of this last term that erased the margin very, very quickly. You're right, Gaz. He just decided to impose himself on the contest, and he didn't mind using Riley Thilthorpe as a personal stepladder. He said, that back looks perfect for me to put a knee in it, rise above everybody. And I mean, that's taking a gamble in itself, saying, I think I'm a better chance of marking it than Riley Thilthorpe. But he backed himself. We know he's capable in the air. We know he's a beautiful kick. And now he's put his team in front.
He's just quietly become one of the best players in the competition, Jordan Dawson. And what he's done here is just going to, the legend will just grow a little bit. He's been down, he's had his colours lowered, and then he's just gone bang, bang, bang.
Can you feel that coming through at the telly? The Lions now have to answer from behind.
Brisbane have made their sub, guys. Gallup is off, Robertson's on.
O'Brien out the sides. Peatling onto his boots. McCluggage took territory out in front of Morris. Kept his footing. And opened up a few possibilities. Steers the pass well. Hipwood shots.
Gee, the kick from Morris on the left foot was exceptional. He steadied himself beautifully. The home fans don't like the decision. But he put it out in front of Hipwood on the lead. He just took his time. Very careful. Chop of the arms.
Well, can Eric Hipwood do what Jordan Dawson just did, and that is absorb the pressure and put his team back in front?
There's a little bit of right to left here too. Tough kick for a left footer.
Hasn't been a night for key forwards. When the moment arrives, you have to seize it. All eyes to Eric Hipwood. He didn't read the cues from Roo. They fly on the line and they won't even concede a score. Keen's got hold of it. He's stepped to play on. He hasn't got a target, so that's high risk. Fletcher with ball in hand.
So the ball to return quickly. Huge numbers. Rayner flew with his natural buoyancy. Bailey initially, Michael Lanny, Dawson, Michael Lanny again, fought. Rayner stood on his feet. Archie ties it up.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect here.
Can't have two draws in 2 years at Adelaide Oval, can we, between these two?
Bucks tipped this.
He did.
8-8-56 apiece.
Smith blasts it in. Great territory taker. O'Brien flew almost. Neil underneath. Wonderful gather. Off to McCluggage. Back inside. Smith was well placed. Foils the first entry. Ball to be won. Peatling stared at Neil, and then McCluggage committed himself.
Adelaide Crows have won one of their last 25 games when they've been behind at three-quarter time. So Jordan Dawson's doing his best to sort this out.
Sligo at the source. High ball. Dawson's there as well. Walker toppled over the top.
Dawson had a chance to win the game for them. One of those games that missed the snap for goal and ended in a draw last year.
Back to the stoppage territory. Fought, hauled it in. Good effort. Bounce will be everything. Worrell had it knocked away by Bailey. Morris trying to open it up. He's done ever so well. Rayner couldn't handle it. Keys saves the day for Adelaide.
Gee, the kick was too good.
Logan Morris is lifting like Jordan Dawson in the forward 50 for Lions. Straight through his hands.
Yeah. O'Brien the tap, read well by Bailey.
Straight up.
Gee, it's hot inside. He had no time there, Bailey. It was a brilliant tackle by Hinge.
They'll be on the move here everywhere, the Brisbane Lions.
Well, the Crows had the ball forward. Lions couldn't weather the pressure. The Crows are weathering it.
Cluggy's got the handball away to Berry. Screwed it back to the square. Worrell, eyes only for the footy. Got himself set, took the mark, looked ahead, saw Michael Lanny in the back pocket. He waits for the right moment too, as he got the waiting right of the kick for Rankin. It was probably meant for Thilthorpe, but Rankin took it and then had to deal with the pressure, and Walker has 4 Lions clamouring for it. Any one of them could be given the free kick. The prime tackler was Wilmot.
A bit ambitious there, the Texan.
Yep. His debut in a final and hasn't looked back. Sky ball into the 50. Try marking that. Morris tried hard. Rayner perfectly positioned to capitalise, but overcurled it.
Been dangerous all night.
That's as good a crumb as you'll see. He hit that at pace. Off his toes, picked it up. Created a scoring opportunity.
Let's get 2 goals, 2. Lions reclaim the lead. Smith again to the centre square. Thilthorpe gets out the back. Sets it up for Tex, has to wait a long time. Fletcher corrals, doesn't quite have it. Keys threatens. Rochelle, he'll go it for sure. Rochelle is third.
Well, there's a breakdown somewhere here because it was a 3-on-2. Rochelle got ahead of the footy, and he does that. He reads the cues really quickly. And at any opportunity will get forward. But they just were outnumbered here. There's two Brisbane line defenders, and look at the 3 with Shelley forward. They just had to win the 50-50 in here, and they couldn't have to get it out. Keys at the handball and the goal assist. That's 4 in a row to open the last quarter. They kicked 5 goals in 3 quarters of footy. They've kicked 4 in the first, 8 to 10 minutes of the last quarter.
So in the space of 10 minutes, that shredded Brisbane's defence. And at the other end, they stood up when Brisbane had 5 minutes of opportunity. Ball inside their 50, they couldn't manufacture a goal.
What a 3 weeks he's had. 5-3, and now 3 not out. 5 points the difference. Adelaide in front. It's up to Brisbane.
Well, the other key point is they've kicked 4 straight. Goal kicking accuracy is the most underrated stat in football.
Thilthorpe the tap. 2 Astros go to work, and Bailey. Answorth. Half forward. Dawson's tracking this in the air. Robertson there, but Hinge takes it away from him, and
the stakes are high for Adelaide. Yep. There can be only one result for Adelaide, because anything other than a win is more of these, good, strong performances against top 8 teams. There can be only one result.
Levi Ashcroft's kick. Lohman launches, and the mark was paid to Dunkley. Returns quickly to goal. Michael Lanny and Cameron. Never an easy moment, but
got the answers, Chief, in the back half at the moment, Adelaide. Stoppage is where they've looked maybe a touch vulnerable.
Crowd of almost 43,000. Blockbuster night at the Adelaide Oval. Thilthorpe trying to hack it out of the air. There's danger in all of that. Fletcher pressing forward. A sign of just how many players are in that front half at the moment. Fletcher, a half-back flanker. It's back over and out again.
Cam Rayner's been the most dangerous. Brodie Smith's got responsibility for him.
It's thick with tension. Lions looking for the go-ahead goal. Skittles around to Curtin, who'll ease some of that for the Crows. Payne had good position, though. Should come straight back in. But what's the right line of attack? It's to a milling pack. Ground ball to be sorted out. Shot out the side. Levi Ashcroft kept it alive. Bailey toppled over. Worrell cleared off the last line. Oh, terrible.
Got a brain fade. He's just panicked.
That's a panic kick, isn't it?
Just panic.
So opportunity.
Devon Robertson, the sub. What a time to have your first touch.
You can't say he's made his name doing this, but a great opportunity to have an impact straight away.
3 weeks in a row as the sub, as he gets a look at this Lions lineup. Not the impression that he was looking for. Chaotic ball. Will Ashcroft took him on, went round and got knocked off.
He's made up for it. He made up for it, the little champ here, the super veteran. He had a brain fade, did Rory, but he's made up for it with a big tackle.
A little more conventional with the kick on the way out this time. Leicester set himself to win it back. Neil Bullen hacked it forward. And there's the skipper. Dawson rolls and he wants to give them a fresh look. Rochelli's been the hot hand. Too much on it this time.
Dunkley's struggling to go with Dawson in the air, and that's why Dawson's dragging him forward.
Payne eases it back.
He's had some telling intercepts tonight. Jack Payne covering across and cutting off some of the balls going forward for the Crows has been solid.
Andrews is a bit transfixed for a moment, but he takes the short to Answorth. Not particularly easy equation for him. Leicester helps out and can use a bit of green grass to his advantage. Kicks along the wing though, and Worrell is in a much better position than Lohman to take the mark. No real fault of his. Berry, free kick, advantage, which is significant. How significant? Not as much as it could have done.
Gee, the mindset's going to be interesting here. Obviously, Adelaide had to outscore them in the last quarter, so it's easy for them to attack when they're coming from behind. Now they're in front. Can they play attacking footy? In Brisbane now, instead of trying to save the game, they're going to win the game. So you'll probably see them start to take a few more risks.
Answorth clears the defensive arc at least. Fort was trying to con the mark. Fed it away to McCluggage. And again, Adelaide's defenders are well set. Yes, this time.
So this is this newfound defensive steal from Adelaide that's standing up big time in this last quarter.
Found the pass to Curtin.
They look rock solid behind the ball.
The targets all wanted it deep. Fogarty flies. Bashed away from him. Levi Ashcroft's lost it. Rankin, Phil Thorpe from behind. Fort's going to hold his nerve. Phil Thorpe threw him away. Andrews.
Could have defeated it.
He picked that up one-handed.
He did a cooler.
That looked fantastic, didn't it? He just reaches down and says, "Oh, that."
The claw, not the claw, the claw.
Crows by 5. Oh, tunnel back, Fogarty, Keys, brilliant, brilliant. Did you see that?
Great call, Hutto. If you blinked, you would have missed it, but you called it beautifully. Some magic in their forward half. The defence has been superb this last quarter, make no mistake, but then you've got to get the job done when you go forward. Dawson lit it, and then you just wait for a little bit of magic to emerge, because you know it's down there. So 450 stoppage here, ball to the ground, and there you go, if you don't mind, from Fogarty to Keys, for 5 in a row.
Yeah, and I think Roo made a great point. It's easy to attack when you're behind. When you hit the front, don't stop attacking. It's important that Adelaide keep attacking. Keep doing the things that have got Brisbane under pressure. The best way to win this is to keep kicking goals.
Tunnel ball.
What about it? 3 for Keys, 3 for Rochelli. And a head full of steam for the locals. Fort's after it in the middle. Zorko out of halfback. Fletcher, what's he got up ahead? Guides the kick for Charlie Cameron. Miller kept him underneath. Laird, Smith, 2 of the old stages and back to Laird. Up to O'Brien. Out the side for Rankin, confronted and worked over the boundary.
Not much happening with Brisbane's kicks going forward. They're basically just kicking the contest and getting beaten in most of them. They've got to find a way to create space to kick to the advantage of some of their forwards.
They've got to come up with 2 goals. Neil Bullen being dragged by one arm. Levi fitted up. Zorko. Dunkley. Hipwood's his target. He's got a few against him. Morris a chance at the crumb. Sold the dummy to get around Worrell. Dragged his kick to the central location. Rochelle didn't handle it. Robertson this time. Not enough. Not enough.
Gee, he's had two great opportunities. Both of them snaps. One into the man on the mark and then one that didn't carry the distance.
Can Keane save a day?
Can he read the moment? Their clearance work this quarter has just been outstanding.
Still plenty of time.
Yet they still can't convert. So the back line of the Adelaide Crows has stood up magnificently.
Lions goalless in this final quarter. So much on the kick too from Smith. O'Brien not paid the mark to the howls and the hoots of the Adelaide crowd. Dawson taken high. Oh, they had it. It was a brilliant effort to latch him up by Dunkley, but
7 inside 50s for Adelaide, 5 goals for the quarter.
moves it quickly and puts that trademark length on the kick. Everyone looked at each other. Pedler and Keys couldn't fly, and Fletcher.
Oh, Pedler like his time again then. It was set for him to absolutely jump at it.
Takes what he's given, which was short to Andrew as the co-captain. Strides out of defence. Made it tough for Rayner. Fortune favoured the number 16 though. Creative has to Bailey, put a step on, and what a step it was. Forward handball. Lohman has it under control. Now it's about the kick, and again, it's not the contact we're after, and Laird tracks it all the way back. It's just not happening.
Who can stand up for the Lions? Lockie Neal's only had one disposal in this last quarter. Zorko's only had a couple. Bailey's only had a couple. Will Ashcroft has had 3. So they're going to need to get their hands on the ball.
They've absorbed 10 inside 50s. They have the Adelaide Crows for 3 behinds.
Chew the gum just a little bit harder in these moments. One of the captains presents. Harris Andrews. Just the dab kick to Zorko. Stabs for Charlie or Lohman. Lohman spilled the milk. Back in and after it. That's held under.
That's 11 inside 50s for 4 behinds. That's telling this last quarter.
Lohman just didn't pick it up till it was too late. Neil Bullen clears the area. Wilmot with a chance to reload. Fletcher back in and after. Levi Ashcroft builds to Zorko. Checks his kick. Poor.
You know, they've had some decent looks, and they've failed the test under pressure.
100%
in this last turn with Brisbane.
100% they have, Jace. They've had plenty of looks going in.
Worrell and Co standing up, but it wasn't a very well-placed kick. This man's been everywhere.
They're going to keep coming too. If one goal here changes the whole feel of the joint. Right now, it looks like they've got it under control, the Adelaide Crows. One goal ramps the pressure back up.
Looking to orchestrate a considered move forward. It's slow. They can play this game well. We know that.
Not a lot of movement ahead of the footy.
No. Kicks to where the massive bodies are. Ready to jump. Miller disrupts. Lohman. Smith knocked it out, and the umpire says, "Yep, you're gone." It's harsh. And that's the call. Levi Ashcroft to the goal square. Morris trying to get back onto it, but Cumming takes his turn, rises, puts the fist into it, and yet another goal is denied.
Just the wrong kick, though.
No,
that is the wrong kick. It doesn't help anybody.
No, they've lost all sort of idea about how they should go forward here. That helps no one but Adelaide.
Lost their composure under pressure.
6 rush behinds helps tell the story of that. Smith again, the yardage. Turnover. Wilmot blasts it back inside. It's going to clear Rayner. They haven't got a flyer.
Well, that sums it up as well, Jared. Any turn, there was acres of space and not one Brisbane player hit up into the space.
Tex presents. Turnover once more. So the Lions having no trouble getting it in the front half. Now to create something. Zorko on the turn. Sets for Rayner. One hand, not the second. Hinge brought to ground.
Brilliant. What about the inside 50 count here? In this last quarter, 15 inside 50s for 5 points, 8 inside 50s for 5 goals.
The Lions have got to pick the lock. Bailey, well, he got high contacts. I'm sure the umpires saw
He did, and that's what the umpire's going on. He's going on the reaction from Bailey.
Thank you.
He'll be careful they don't give away 50 here, the Crows.
forearm to the face. It is high contact.
It's a free kick.
Any way you look at it.
It's a free kick. This is the goal that we're talking about. He kicks this goal and the pressure doubles on the Adelaide Crows.
Jack Bailey to defy the environments and put the game back in the balance. He fails the task by a big margin.
They just keep fluffing their lines. They've had some really good looks in this last quarter and for whatever reason lost their composure, can't hit the scoreboard the way they need to, and it's just fueling Adelaide's confidence.
Pressure test not over yet though. Miller's kick is long and logical. Whacked back by Fort. Lohman picking it up. Neil placed it for Morris. He was so close again. Keane does enough. Robertson tries to rumble his way through, but
they're holding on here by the skin of their teeth. They are holding on by the skin of their teeth.
Another good kick inside from Lockie Neal. Hands should have been taken, wasn't.
What tension on a Friday night. Peatling, Neil, Hambledore, Ruckman, Fletcher, Levi Ashcroft just crafts something, anything. Bit of a standoff, coming jumped high. McCluggage, Saligo, no. Archie has been such a great source of goals.
No.
The crowd is deathly silent. We're going to have to check it, I think.
I don't think Archie's sure either.
I believe it's behind him. Please confirm it's gone over the goalpost. Score review.
Gone over the goalpost.
One behind. Please confirm it's gone over.
It's that end, it's that goalpost.
How are you going to overturn this?
It's this review.
How do you overturn something where it hasn't hit anything? It's just an umpire's call. There's nothing definitive about that that's going to change it.
It's a bit pointless, really, isn't it?
Just come back and say insufficient evidence. Go with the umpire's call.
Well, that's what it was going to be from the moment he called it, because when it's going over the post...
Review complete. Looking at these angles, there is insufficient evidence to say whether the ball's cast over the post or not. Decision on the scoreboard.
Relief for the crowd. Yet another Brisbane behind.
Oh, it's incredible. This last quarter's been incredible. They're holding on here, the Crows. They've been brilliant. They've been magnificent, kicking 5 unanswered. And now they're just holding on.
Dunkley's off, being patched up. Smith is just blasting them in long. It's been 4 consecutive behinds. O'Brien came up, Michael Annie as well. It's the first time the Crows have gained proper possession at halfback for quite some minutes.
Riley Philthorpe's in the hole here.
Michael Annie just balked the initial kick. Get after it. Neil Bullen missed his boot. Leicester didn't. It'll fall for McCluggage. Runners inboard. McCluggage is going to trust them in the centre square. Berry looks for a target. It's more open up ahead. Cameron in a wrestle. Ball pitches. Swatted away. Only as far as Archie. Bailey simply must. And again he can't. Not only behinds, but the out on the fulls and the smothered balls as well. They have found every which way.
17.
And it all matters too, those behinds, doesn't it?
17 inside 50s to 8. 6 points to 5 goals straight.
It's going out again in the Smith's reign, but it might be coming back, although Curtin has other ideas.
Great win. That's a great win.
The young man, 17 consecutive games now, wants to be part of this team as they charge forward in 2025. High prize intercept defender is what he was taken as. Ben wing or forward. He's doing it well. He kicks wide. Zorko cuts across and didn't do it smart. Oh, straight to the middle. Still attainable in their eyes. Ashcroft takes off. Brisbane probe away again, although they've got cornered.
When Will Ashcroft loses his mind, you know that it's just not to be. Jason called it beautifully. They've failed a test here in the last quarter. Take nothing away from Adelaide, by the way.
Just eyes have been spinning for the last 10 minutes with the way they've played their entries, the Lions. Zorko again. Centering ball Fletcher on the reach. He'll need to be good here. He's got supports. Lester uses all this experience. Up on the wing, Berry had to go. And release. Robertson. Give them a look. 3 on 3. Up goes Lohman. Couldn't bring it down. He's got it anyway. Kick smothered by Dawson. Of course it would be. But Neil pried it clear and missed.
Oh, no.
And missed.
If ever someone was going to straighten him up, you would think Lockie Neal, who composed himself because he thought, I've got more time, I don't have to kick the banana. He straightened and kicked the drop punt and still missed.
They spooked him. They've spooked him.
That would have made for the best last minute.
Draws on here, a minute to go. Knocked away Leicester. Still it's frenetic. Robertson, the ball keeps finding him. Rankin, 35 precious metres. Everyone turns now by you gone. Insufficient. Crowd howl. Quick kick from Payne to McCluggage. You don't want to panic, but he wants to make them dangerous. Oh, it might backfire. No. Pays off. Quick hands. Wilmot sits for Fletcher. 70, 80 metres out. Kicks it wide to Bailey. Of all people, Zach Bailey doesn't look like that he thinks he can go the journey in these conditions. You can't blame him. But he goes back on the line, O'Brien. They've denied and defied again.
That was the one place you couldn't hit the footy.
Not one person
place. They lost their heads. It gave you no chance.
They have lost their heads.
What a bizarre 12 minutes from the reigning champs.
It is a you just wonder whether the 5 quick unanswered goals spooked them in the end.
Smith has taken every yard possible off the tee, and he does so again. It'll run all the way to the boundary. Territory favours the Crows.
And we can unpack the last quarter all we like from a Brisbane point of view. They are 9 seconds away, the Adelaide Crows, from one of their really great, famous victories.
Lions just about need a miracle. They fly around at the stoppage. Robertson overran it. Andrews had it tied up. The Crows fans know, and there it is. Adelaide produce their credentials as a contender. A withering run at the start of the final term, and then they hung on for grim life at the end. You'll only have to look at the box score to understand the last quarter. 5 straight to 8 behinds.
And from only 8 inside 50s to 20, there's so many storylines around this, but the bottom line is there can be only one result for the Adelaide Crows tonight, and that was to win a game that they had in their keeping after blistering 5 goals unanswered when it was on the line at three-quarter time. The response was everything you needed to see, and then they hung on for dear life. It's extraordinary. It's an extraordinary last quarter. It's a massive victory, and this man with Mark Rasciuto played a very, very big part in it.
Rash, huge last quarter. What did Nixie say at three-quarter time? You're 17 points down.
Yeah, we just felt like that, especially forward of the ball. The Brisbane backs were getting back to the body a lot better than us forwards in our mid, so a big emphasis on pressing the game in that second half.
Tell us about the last few minutes. You've had a few close losses against some top 4 or 5 sides, and you needed to win this one. What was going through your mind out there?
Yeah, we've had a big emphasis probably the last 3 or 4 weeks on limiting goals in red time. Those last couple of minutes has probably been a weakness probably the last couple of years. So I thought we executed our game plan perfectly those last couple of minutes. It was quite scary, but credit to our backs and the whole team for really holding on those last couple.
3 goals by you again. That's 11 in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I've got to put the credit to the boys. Keezy, Isaac, a lot of those boys are doing the work, and especially the rest of the team. I'm just a finished product of what's going on behind the ground.
What about the captain? The mark and goal was pretty special at the start of that last quarter.
Oh, yeah, you can see why he's one of the best captains in the AFL. Just for him to be able to go and do that in those. in those tough moments. He had a pretty hard play on Dunkley for him for most of the day, so credit to Dawson that minute.
And a lot of people saying Adelaide needed to get a big scalp. To beat the Premiers on your home deck must feel pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Credit to Brisbane. We've got total respect for them. They're a great team led by Fags and Lockie Neal. And it's great to obviously get the 4 points today.
Enjoy the win, mate.
Thanks, Rick.
Enjoy it. They will. There's Jordan Dawson's heroics to set this thing up in the last quarter was spectacular. It's these moments like that where you go and look at the player. Already had elevated himself into this unbelievable level, and then you go back and you have a look at it. Let's go back down to Mark Prosciutto.
Keezer, how does it feel?
Feels good, mate. Feels good when you get a crowd like this on a big game, play the reigning premiers, the benchmark of the comp, and to get a good scrappy win. We're really happy.
What about the job? You had the job on Zorko tonight?
Yeah, the job in the first half. Changed a few things at half time, but yeah, obviously a brilliant player, one of the best to ever do it. So yeah, it's a privilege to play on him, and yeah, he was excellent tonight. Has been all season.
And another 3 goals by yourself. Two-way running is better than anyone in the competition at the moment.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Just trying to do my role, and yeah, sometimes it falls your way, sometimes it doesn't. You just got to keep doing it every week. And lucky you got such a great group around me, mate. Great group of forwards, and really the whole team helped me through it.
How does it feel to knock off the Premiers on the home deck?
Yeah, really awesome. The fans were unbelievable, as they always are, but extra special tonight. It doesn't get any easier, though. Move on to Hawthorn next week, another great side. So, yeah, long way to go, but yeah, we're happy.
Well done, Keezer. Great win.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Game 149 for Ben Keys, so he'll have a milestone next week. Crows again on Friday night, so it's a big stage, and it looks like they belong.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do, because again, they're three-quarter time and they're 16 points down. The storylines have been written about them, Jace. Again, this is a good side, but not a great side. This is a side that can compete with the bottom rung, but struggle to beat the top rung. And then they said, no, we're not going to have that narrative written about us. And Jordan Dawson said, I'm not letting us have that narrative written about. When it comes to the captain, and then he backs it up in the manner that he did in the first 10 minutes, the rest of them jump on board. They kick 5, they get it out to 11, and then for the last 12 minutes, the ball just lives in their defence, and the Brisbane Lions lost their minds.
Don't underestimate what the Adelaide Football Club can take out of this win, and how much that's going to stand them in good stead as we run towards September. You're right. For the last 15 minutes, the ball was sitting in Brisbane's forward 50 for 15 minutes. And they walk away saying, we stuck firm. We hung in there. We didn't allow contested marks. We didn't lose our focus. We covered all the areas. We made it scrappy. We worked our way through it. And now they will have belief that they can win in any situation. That is a monster win for the mindset of this footy club.
Yeah, and they were ably helped out by a reigning premier who I think this is my take on it anyway. I think the 5 goals in quick succession rattled them, shocked them, and from that point on they lost their composure. They forgot what it was to be dangerous when they went forward. The amount of times they kicked to 0 to 10 metres out and had the ball punched through.
Just bombed it. They just bombed it without even having a look.
At the very end,
yep.
Zach Bailey. So that's next Friday. That's their month ahead, of course. Hawthorn next up. And then Brisbane, this is not an easy 3-week period for the Lions. Tonight, they've just gone down. Then they have GWS. I'm not quite sure what they're going to deliver. And then the Cats at Geelong before they get a bit of respite with the bye.
So for all that you're 100%. What Adelaide take out of this game is almost immeasurable. There'll be so many learnings for Chris Fagan when he goes and unpacks this, particularly this last 20 minutes.
But the difference for Brisbane, Gaz, is you're the reigning premier. We've just sat here and pointed out 20 mistakes they made in the last 10 minutes. Yeah. And they were within a kick of winning.
Yeah.
So they'll be okay. Yep. They will sit there and say, right, we got a lot wrong. We can work on that. We know we can do that better. And as we get towards September, I'm sure we'll iron out a few of those bugs. So I think they'll be okay. And that's why I couldn't agree with you more when you said there was only one result that worked for Adelaide. That was the only thing that had to come out of this game for them to go forward.
And they got it. Yeah. That's why they'd be just over the moon, because again, at 3/4 time, it was shaping as another one of those oh, there they get close, but they're not quite there. Well, now they walk away and say, no, we put that to bed. We've now claimed this side, this scalp of the reigning premier, and we'll enjoy it, and then we'll get back to work again, because they've also got some stuff that they can get better at. Excuse me, but they've got so many boxes that tick this Adelaide Crows side that to have the win like they had tonight is going to hold them in great stead.
Don't think they really want to leave there, to be honest.
And what they did do with the ball is really, really good. When they had opportunities, they made sure of it. They were brilliant. And look at the skipper, Jordan Dawson, just engaging with the supporters, the hometown. They were desperate to get their teeth into this, and it wasn't until the final quarter that they did.
Well, his unexpected choice as captain when it came so quickly, the former Swan, but hasn't he grown into the position? It's Adelaide as a collective mature and have their eyes very much on September now.
9 shots at goal in the last quarter, Brisbane, 6 behinds and 3 complete misses. Anyway, we will talk about them later. This is the story tonight. Josh Shelley's in a rare vein of form. He's ably supported by Ben Keys, still thought was huge. The captain stood up when he had to. Thought the back line was really solid. Riley O'Brien was good. It's a pretty good footy side.
This may be a song with a bit of passion, Hutto.
Yeah. Rightfully so. They enjoy it. Big stage and they've come through. Big moments.
Enhance their credentials on a wintry Friday night with a big crowd. Sing it loud and sing it proud.
The Adelaide Crows get the scalp they wanted. The reigning premiers, Brisbane, by 5 points. Brisbane led at every single change, but it all means nothing until you lead at the last change. Welcome to Friday Night Footy on Fox by the new Ranger plug-in hybrid. I'm not sure who's more disappointed, Brisbane or Bucks, that you didn't get the draw. You were riding the draw like I've never seen before.
What was Zach Bailey thinking?
What was he thinking?
What a great game.
Terrific game. Louis, let's get straight into it. Yui, let's have a look at these highlights because the fourth quarter had everything.
It did, and Adelaide started off on fire. We'll talk about Jordan Dawson from an individual point of view, but I thought the way that Adelaide set up their forehand, I thought Phil Thorpe and Walker and Fogarty spent most of the night leading up. I think they rested themselves deep and took back shoulder early on in this fourth term, which really meant that the Brisbane defenders were accountable. But I mean, they just took their chances, and this is what it's about when the game comes right down to it, the fourth quarter. So you add in the pressure of the game, the ability to close it out. This man was huge across the fourth quarter. So we'll speak about his leadership and the role that he played, but they must be pleased with the way they closed the game.
We'll be speaking to him in the next couple of minutes, and it'd be great to hear from him what he felt about the game and his charges. But Adelaide they were able to access their front half more, and Keys was dangerous the whole time. If he wasn't scoring goals, he was setting them up. Rochelli's continued on his great form. Adelaide would be buoyed. I mean, the result is great. I mean, even this is expressing yourself and keeping the ball live, keeping the ball in motion. And Brisbane in the first half of that quarter, they were on the ropes. They were on their back foot. But then their ability to be able to compose themselves, to have so many inside 50s, and then as Josh Shelley said in the post-match interview, just to be able to hold on and be able to withstand Brisbane's challenge late. They will take so much from that.
We said that before the game. They're one of the best chasing teams. So when Brisbane got behind, they weren't going to back down. They were going to bring the heat, and they did. And 11 shots on goal, Geordie, in the last quarter from the Brisbane Lions for the big Roy Orbison, the donut.
Yeah. They'll be kicking themselves. Like Lockie Neal had that shot. Archie, and we can talk about that review. As soon as it was called a point, it was going to be really hard to overturn. If it was called a goal, obviously it would have remained. Robertson had a snap. Bailey, that set shot that we saw. So yeah, there was they held on and the luck went their way. And you need a little bit of that as well to get the result.
Well, you do, and you got to hit the scoreboard. I mean, when the game's in the balance, you got to be able to finish your work, and they kicked 5 straight.
Yeah,
Adelaide.
I think the attitude of Adelaide, and we can't deny their tackle pressure. I mean, they had 26 tackles in the fourth term to Brisbane's 10, so plus 16 just in the fourth quarter. But what I loved, and we saw a little bit of it there, the ability to keep the ball alive. So the little taps that put someone else into space to keep the ball alive, because what you don't want when you're trying to peg back a margin is stoppage after stoppage, congestion after congestion. They didn't allow Brisbane to do that in the early part of that fourth term.
And it's with great pleasure that we get the opportunity to head into the Adelaide rooms with the skipper, Jordan Dawson. He's going to join us. It was an incredible game, Jordan. We went into this one thinking, this is your big statement. And Adelaide, they've only beaten one team in the top 8, but you get the reigning premiers on a night like that and you finish and you execute. That must be incredibly pleasing.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, obviously. I think we wanted to bring the contest, and we knew that they would, and we knew it was going to be a wet, slippery night, and we had to get down and dirty, but that's all right. We enjoyed it, and to their credit, they were unbelievable for the first 3 quarters, and we were able to peg them back. But it was a great game.
How satisfying is it, Jordan, to the last 2 or 3 years you've played a lot of good footy, but you've got to these moments and haven't quite been able to get over the line. It must be extremely satisfying to have been able to seize the moment, to have been able to finish when you needed to finish and then hold on towards the end.
Yeah, it is very satisfying. We've obviously lost a lot of close games over the last few years, so that's footy. I mean, it's frustrating at times, but it can be awesome and glorious at the other end. So our games against Brisbane are always tough, and it's really nice to get the wood over them this game. Obviously, they had a lot of opportunities in the last 5 minutes, so we definitely need to work on a few things, but we'll definitely take the 4 points as well.
A big moment in the last quarter, Jordan. You take a massive hanger over Riley Thilthorpe, and I didn't see you apologise anything, a big knee in the back to your key forward, but must have been pretty pleasing to finish off your work on that one.
I mean, obviously, Big Filthy was pretty flat straight after, and he came up to me and laughed in my face. So I'm not going to apologise for it. I'm going to, if I go forward, I'm going to fly at everything, and I definitely crashed into him a few times. So it's all part of it. I'm glad that one stuck, and I was able to finish the work, which is nice.
Johnny, take us into your mindset. I mean, it was a great battle between you and Josh Dunkley all night. Yet, when the moment came in that fourth term, you certainly, with a dominant player, you changed the way that the game was being played. What are you thinking at 3/4 time as the captain of the football club, wanting to impose yourself in the fourth term?
Yeah, it's a hard one. You obviously don't want to go out of your way to try and impact, but I just at 3/4 time reset myself and just said that I needed to felt like I needed to have some big moments, and I knew that they would come, and I'd just keep working for them. And like you said, Dunkley's he's a great player, and he's a fantastic mid. I've admired the way he goes about it, and obviously it was a really good battle I felt between me and him all game, and we both definitely liked the defensive side of the game, and I mean, I knew that I was going to get a few opportunities in the last, and I wanted to make the most of them, and to the boys' credit, I mean, Filthy and Keezy just knocking over the set shot, that's just as crucial as any of the moments that I had as well. So all the boys stood up in the last quarter, which was really special.
So for you to reset at 3/4 time, what is it for you? Is it to push harder forward? Is it to get inside the stoppage more? What sort of triggers set you off?
It's just to keep playing my game. I think I know it'll turn eventually. Obviously, you'd rather earlier in the game to start getting on top, but a wet, slippery night, it's not going to be perfect. And I just want to keep rocking up to the right spots and keep playing my role for the team. And to the boys' credit, they were able to get me the ball a few times, and we were able to work off the back of that. But I think some of the work from the other mids in the last quarter, Saligo and Berry and Peatling all game, they were able to help me in the last quarter, and I was able to get forward as well. And we've got guys that can go through the mid, through the forward line, so we're able to spin the wheels a little bit more.
Had a lot of strong performers, and to be honest, you've got names that are popping up and playing their best football nearly on every line. But Ben Keys, for me, is a player who has consistently improved his game over the last 3 or 4 years since coming down from Brisbane. Can you take us into basically his training regime, his attitude, his energy, what he brings to the group, and talk a little bit about his influence?
Keezy's been unbelievable, even for myself. his professionalism and the way he prepares and looks after himself is the best I've ever seen in my 10 years. He's someone that I look up to, and we're the same age. And as a leader of the club, he's someone that I really admire and ask advice of as well. So just the way he prepares, and he's so diligent with his role as well. I think that's another thing that he was a mid for a few years there, and to go into the forward line and play that high half forward role, it's a hard position, and I'm kind of glad that I don't have to play it because his GPS is through the roof every game. But he's just adapted that role and made it his own, and I love the way he goes about it and just the energy that he brings to the group. He's an unbelievable teammate and a great bloke.
Jordan, take us inside the scenario. You had a draw last year in round 9 against Brisbane. And when you look at this game, it was always going to be a tight one. Scenario-wise, you get in front and then Brisbane are coming. You know they're going to come. What was the instruction collectively as a group, what you had to get done in those last couple of minutes?
Yeah, well, I think we know when a certain board comes up that we want to try and kill the game. So obviously we put one behind the ball and they equalise it, which is pretty normal in today's game. And then our ability to try and make it a bit of a shit fight, and stoppages are good for us, obviously, in the last few minutes of the game. Probably shouldn't have said that, but
just rolled off the
stoppages are, I'm still a bit G'd up, sorry guys, but no, stoppages are obviously good for us. Ideally, we don't get pinned in our back half, but that's Brisbane. That they know how to play that green time scenario as well. So we'll definitely review it. We've got some certain things that we want to try and put in place, but then it's about executing that. And I don't think we did that overly well, but we got the result, so we'll take it.
Jordan, just before we let you go, Rue's got his 50th birthday on Sunday. Did you get an invite?
No, I didn't. He's actually standing behind here. He's giving me the thumbs up, so apparently I did get the invite, but I don't know if...
That was a late charity one?
I don't know if I'll take the pity invite, so maybe I'll just stay at home.
Well, terrific win, and 3 in a row for the Crows, and you've knocked off the running premiers, so an unbelievable achievement at Adelaide Oval, and great game from you in the dying moment, so well done, Jordan.
Thanks, guys. Cheers for having me.
All right, folks, there we go. What a fantastic game. What a last quarter. Can you believe it? Adelaide getting up by 5 points. 10-8-68. The Brisbane Lions 8-15-63. Wow, 5 straight goals to Adelaide in that final term. Brisbane Lions 8 straight behinds. Couldn't find the goals. Even Lachie Neale, the Brownlow medalist, running into an open goal, put it off his boot through the behinds. Couldn't even score. Tell you what, the pressure Brisbane were just peppering so often without being able to put the major on. So a credit is to Adelaide's defence for holding up so strong there. What a fantastic game, though. I think Brisbane had the yips in the final quarter, just like Adelaide had the yips in the first quarter, with 6 behinds. No goals, 6 in the opening term to Adelaide. No goals, 8 to Brisbane in the final term. That was... there we go. So it was pretty much played in the second and third quarters, but what a fantastic game. Hey, let's run through some of the stats before we end up here. We did have the poll there. We had 64% say Adelaide Crows would get up. Well done, everyone. You got that one right, but what a fantastic game. I tell you what, it was anybody's game up until the final couple of minutes. Whew, I tell you what, that was like a finals game. Let's go and have a look at the goal scorers, see how that ended up, and the stats for all the stats people out there. Josh Shelley, Ben Keys for the Crows, top of the table with 3 goals apiece. Taylor Walker, Riley Thilthorpe ended up with 1. Luke Pedler, Jordan Dawson with the singles for Adelaide Crows. For Brisbane Lions, Cam Rayner, Charlie Cameron ended up with 2. Hugh McCluggage, Lohman, Bailey, Chi were the single goal scorers there. Disposal magnet. Will Ashcroft, the only one in the 30s tonight from Brisbane. 31, 13 kicks, 8 handballs. He had 8 clearances. Jad Berry next best on 28. Hugh McCluggage, Bags with 27, with Fletcher 27. The best out there for Adelaide, Rory Laird, who led the way for Adelaide the entire night on 25. 3 clearances. There we go, Levi Ashcroft. Lachie Neale with 22, Zorko 21, Ben Keys for Adelaide on 20, Saligo 19, Ranky 18. He did a little bit in that final quarter, so he had a couple of nice passages of play. Cam Rayner started off the game really well. Couldn't quite get into that final term. and cement his brilliance onto the game. 17 touches, 2 goals, 2. Still a nice effort from him. Let's just roll down the board a little bit. Riley Thilthorpe, just the 1 goal, 1 from his 11 touches, 10 kicks. Darcy Fogarty, unable to hit the scoreboard this evening with his 11 disposals, 7 kicks. No score for him. Joshua Shelley, he had a great game, although just the 10 possessions, 9 kicks. Tell you what, he kicked him when it counted. 3 goals, 1. Fantastic. Eric Hipwood, unable to trouble the scorer tonight. Taylor, as I said, Tex Walker, just the 1. Charlie Cameron with a couple there. Team stats, we head over there. Lions well and truly on top, plus 74, Emmanuel, plus 74. Where's the ladder? Ladder's coming up in just a jiffy. The kicks, there we go, plus 28 to the Lions. Wow, plus 66 handballs. Inside 50s, 47 to Adelaide Crows. Scoring shots, 18, 23 scoring shots for Brisbane's inside 60. They had a monster inside 50 count in that final term, just couldn't quite get the job done. Disposal efficiency a little bit low for both teams. Free kicks, 25-20. So the umpires, well, let the game play a little bit in the second half. Hit-outs was the Crows by 9. Clearances, Brisbane Lions dominated. Plus 19. Plus 1 in the centre clearances. Plus 18 in the stoppage clearances. Wow, contested possessions, not a great deal in that, just the 13. Uncontested. Brisbane controlled the ball a bit, didn't they? Wow, what's that? 57, 67, 76. Wow, 50% more than Adelaide Crows. Turnovers quite high for both teams. As I said, the rain came down, a little bit slippery in occasions, but it was just a pressure game. Turnovers were high. Marks, Lions by 11. Marks inside 50. Well, both teams had their chances, didn't they? Contested Adelaide there, plus 7. Tackles, great number for Adelaide. Well, they needed to raise their tackle count, especially in that final term when Brisbane were absolutely hammering at the goals. The pressure was on there. It lived down the Brisbane Lions end most of the final quarter there, 88-62, tackles inside 50. Both teams doing well. The ladder, you asked for the ladder. Let's see if we can bring this up. Let's see if it's loaded up. There it is. There's the live ladder as it stands after two games into round 13. Collingwood remains on top on 40. Brisbane Lion a half a game behind Collingwood. Of course, Collingwood still got 1 game to play on Monday. Adelaide, they move up into third spot, 36 with a healthy percentage. Gold Coast Suns 32, Geelong 32. That'll be a fantastic game tomorrow. Both of these teams play tomorrow. If the Gold Coast win, they'll remain 4th. If not, Geelong will jump up into 4th position. I think Adelaide Crows percentage is too much for them to overtake them, 10%. That is the live ladder. And for all those Adelaide Crows fans out there, you're in 3rd position. You're trying to cement a spot in the top 4. We're going to have a look at who's they're playing next week. Of course, next week's games. Hawthorn down there in Tasmania, they've taken on Adelaide. Wow, I tell you what, that's going to be a tough game. Hawthorn played the best game we've seen them play for a few weeks. And of course, Adelaide Crows playing well. I tell you what, that's going to be a fantastic game. That's next Friday night. That happens. And of course, next Saturday, Brisbane, well, they take on the GWS Giants back a home game up there at the Gabba for the Brisbane Lions. That's going to be another ring-a-ding-ding game. That's a game that Brisbane Lions would be expecting to win and regain their form. I'll tell you what, hot pies, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, I would definitely tip Brisbane next week. Hawthorn Adelaide, geez, I tell you what, I got no idea who's going to win that game. But that's down in Tasmania. Hawthorn usually play pretty good down in Tasmania. So we'll again get another good guide where Adelaide Crows are positioned after tonight's good win at home. We'll see how they fare up against Hawthorn. But I tell you what, that's going to be a couple cracking games next week for sure. Don't forget, games tomorrow, folks. Games coming up tomorrow. Richmond taking on Sydney, 1:20 p.m. Melbourne time. Following that, Geelong Gold Coast, that's going to be a ring-a-ding-ding game. That's down there at GMHBA Stadium. That's a game we're looking forward to. And, of course, tomorrow evening, the GWS Giants taking on Port Adelaide. That'll be a fascinating game. And, of course, the Brisbane Lions fans will be probably tuning in that to see how the Giants go, since that's their next opponents. And, of course, Sunday, North Melbourne, West Coast, Carlton versus Essendon. Monday, the big game, Melbourne taking on Collingwood at the MCG. We'll definitely be doing that game. We'll be trying to do as many games as we can over the weekend, folks. So hopefully we can get your team done, if possible, if I am here. I know I may have something on tomorrow, Battle of the Wooden Spoon. So not all. Tell you what, the Wooden Spoon, North Melbourne, West Coast, there we go. I think the Eagles might just about take out that. The Eagles are still a game and a half behind North Melbourne. 4 points the Eagles, 10 points North Melbourne. So West Coast might have wrapped that up, the Wooden Spoon. But fantastic game tonight. As I said, it was like a finals game. Certainly the crowd came alight, especially in that final quarter. Whew, what a game. That's what football's all about. That is what football... That's what I said, folks. It all comes down to the final minutes. There's going to be a kick in it. I think I said that at the beginning. And that's how it ended up. 5 points. Adelaide Crows, super happy. Well done to them. Brisbane Lions, tell you what, they did a lot of things right. But as the commentator said, maybe they just lost a little bit of composure. They probably just could have taken their time a little bit instead of a lot of rushed. But, you know, that being said, they should have scored some goals in that final term. Geez, did they miss some easy shots. You know, I think even some of the under-15s could have got some of those goals. But that's what pressure does. That's what pressure does in these big matches when you've got a lot riding on the line. You're welcome, Emmanuel. You're welcome. Hey, thanks for coming on in, Emmanuel. Game Board, and of course, everyone else. B3, thanks for coming on in. Everyone else. Tine, thanks for coming in. Game Board, Sheila May. Thanks, Gia, for coming on in, and everyone else. We appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed this fantastic game tonight. I tell you what, the Adelaide Crows got up by 5 points. Wowee. What a ring-a-ding-ding. I tell you what, hopefully we've got a few more games coming up over the weekend that's going to end up like this. And, of course, maybe the Geelong Gold Coast one could be one of those games. Carlton, Essendon, you never know. Collingwood, Melbourne, you never know. Big games. There we go. I tell you what will be an interesting game, though, tomorrow. Richmond, Sydney. That'll be an interesting game at the MCG. You know what? I think I might tip Richmond in that one. There we go. There we go. Let me just have a little bit of a look. There we go. I'm just having a look at the odds on that game. 274 Richmond, 146 Sydney. I tell you what, Richmond are short enough. I think they could do it. I think they could do it at the MCG. Why not? Why not? All right, folks. Hey, that's it. It's over and out from me. I thank everyone for coming in again. Hey, and great odds. 274. You reckon a great odds or the Sydney odds? Yeah, normally Richmond have been, you know, $6, $5, $6, $10, somewhere around there for the games, but they're certainly tightened on in because they play a reasonable brand of footy, this young up-and-coming Tigers team, and they nearly got the job done last week, I think, from memory, but just failed. I think they just failed last week, but yeah, they the way Sydney are playing, well, Richmond just might get the job done. We'll see. That's going to be fascinating. I hope I'm here to cover that game because I'll be really interested in that match. That's going to be great. All right, hey, folks, that's it. I am over and out for this game tonight. So until the next game, hey, ciao for now. We'll see you at the next one. Thanks, everyone.